Summer is over. I know, a lot of you are sad, but me, I'm elated. I hibernate when it's hot, dude. I do not like summer. And if you're like me, cheap and hate people, it's a good idea to get to vacation spots during the off-season. Have you ever been to a beach town in the fall? It's great. There's no one there. So, I'm going to be visiting a quaint resort town for the weekend. Silent Hill 2. This remake of a game that I played when I was way too young to understand what was actually going on. I have played the original a few times, but the remake does a lot differently. We open on a bathroom. James here has just taken a whiz and is distraught to find out there is no soap, and the air dryer is one of those pathetic ancient ones that feels like a light breeze on your hands. A truly horrific experience. Despite that, he touches his hands and face, then walks out of the decrepit bathroom into this dreary landscape. I'm sure it's been said before, but the music of the series has always been and will always be amazing. I love that they took the original music and put it over this remake. It holds up even though it's been 24 years. James is also distraught that he got a letter from his dead wife.
It's ridiculous. Couldn't possibly be true. That's what I keep telling myself. Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. So then why am I looking for her? Our special place. Could Mary really be here? Is she really alive? Waiting for me?
I also think that this transition into gameplay is great. Big shout out to the voice actor Luke Roberts, who I think captures James perfectly. It's hard to fill the shoes of such an iconic character, and this depressed, gravelly, defeated tone that he takes is amazing. We make our way into town by way of the woods, which I hope James isn't wearing shoes he likes, because this is some squelchy mud. Occasionally, it sounds like things are moving and breathing just outside our view. It's unnerving, but we don't get attacked here. The tension is palpable, though. James finds this red square on a well. These are where we'll be saving the game. James mentions...
It's like someone's groping around my skull.
Which is concerning. Passing this gate, we're in a church cemetery, joined by one Angela. James is lucky that Angela didn't have pepper spray.
Excuse me.
Announce yourself, my dude. James asks Angela for directions to Silent Hill, but she warns us.
I think you should stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it. And it's not just the fog either.
Is it dangerous?
Maybe.
I'll be careful.
I'm not lying.
No, I believe you. It's just... I guess I don't really care if it's dangerous or not. I'm going either way.
Angela reveals that she's looking for her mother. She thinks that her father and brother are here too, but it seems like something isn't right. Note how she says,
I'm not lying.
We'll talk about that later. Through more squelchy mud, we find ourselves passing some cornfields, which I have had a slight phobia of since Signs. I think we all have a little bit of that. If you think about how little you can see through them, how expansive they can be, they really are pretty scary. It seems like something is out there as well. The music here is oppressive and unnerving. It's uncomfortable. And as we walk through these dilapidated buildings, I can't help but feel we should have seen someone by now. At the garage, we hear something inside.
Hello? Anyone in here?
But upon jumping through the window, we find nothing but some stereotypical posters and a key to the gate outside. Finally, we trade the mud for pavement and we begin to enter Silent Hill. It's a long walk through the fog-covered streets until we find ourselves a map. Searching around, I find a health drink, which doesn't look very appealing. Give me some Monster, dude. James looks tired. I'm not going to mention every item that I pick up. I don't think that actually did much to shorten the video. After 3 years, I think Mary could use some flowers, but the shop isn't stocked very well. We find a note at the counter about a strange man who entered the shop earlier. The employees are nowhere to be found, so we can't bother them to check in the back for anything presentable. P.S., just so you know, when you ask a retail employee to check the back and they don't like you, they'll just go stand back there for a bit. That's what I did. I make minimum wage. Why the f*** are you talking to me? When we approach this door, there seems to be a trail of something gross leading outside.
What is this?
Heading deeper into town, we find
More of that stuff.
And because I am a survivalist, I head in the opposite direction, but am thwarted by this scaffolding covered in dirty white sheets. What kind of construction is this? And why can't we go under it?
Jesus Christ.
These walls are preventing us from going any direction other than towards the source of this ooze. Great. We find more of it as we go house to house, trying to see if anyone can tell us where Mary is. Approaching this crossroads, we see something in the distance.
Hey, wait.
James, that doesn't look like a normal person. James is, I guess, a little lonely at this point, so desperate for any companionship that he heads right after it. Going a bit too far, we find that the road has crumbled.
What happened to this town?
I know, right? Maybe it would be better if we head back to the car and get out of here. I know, he loves his dead wife, and searching this obviously rotting place is a perfectly rational thing to do. The ooze leads us to this alleyway behind a house. We hear noises of this person running away. James, still in hot pursuit. Even after getting a pretty good look at it, James is still like,
Hello?
yeah, man, keep trying to get its attention. Under this garage door and through a crack in the wall, we find another save square, and beyond it, a kitchen with more health drinks. Heading into the hallway, we hear static in the distance. And entering this room, we find a small radio. Does anyone actually use these anymore? Oh, and that thing that we've been following, it's hiding in here, and it comes to attack James. For what it's worth, grabbing the plank is a pretty good move. These monsters are called lying figures, and I don't know if they look creepier in this game or in the original. But we don't fight, opting to dodge the creature and head for the door. Through here, we find a syringe, the higher tier of healing item that we'll need to use when we're in dire straits. Smashing the window for our escape, and outside we hear a voice on the radio. Sort of sounds like Mary, but I'm no expert. In the road, we find a body attacked by one of those monsters we saw before. They have a matchbox with a local bar on it, so that's going to be our next objective. There are more of those things stalking the town, something we find out rather quickly. Making our way to Bar Neely isn't hard. The streets are wide enough to where I can stay out of the way of the lying figures. After all this, James could really use a stiff drink, but again, there doesn't seem to be anybody working. Doesn't seem to be much of a stock here either. Desperate for some entertainment, James uncovers the jukebox, but of course, it's out of order. We find a note saying that the person who broke the jukebox lives in an apartment by a pharmacy, something that we can find on our map. Someone is also leaving around some weird graffiti. Off to the pharmacy, which is a fairly quick jaunt. I will say, without the fog, decay, and monsters, Silent Hill seems like a great town. Small businesses, walkability, tourism. Sign me up.
We're going to take on a town that is literally falling apart.
We're bringing life back to these houses and businesses.
Brick by brick.
There's a bug in here that isn't the most threatening enemy, but will damage you if it's not taken care of. I hate them too, because you can never really tell if the radio is indicating one of them or a real threat. I am killed by one later, so look out for that. We have to get into the office of this small apartment building to get a key for apartment 5, where there's a leak, because that's the biggest thing this structure has to worry about right now. Searching for apartment 5, we find ourselves in the pharmacy that has a wild prescription bill.
Sweet child of mine! Why is it so darn much, Doc?
This is America.
Another bug lurks upstairs, and I mean, the floors and walls are in dire need of maintenance. But we ignore all that and head to apartment 5. Turns out the leak is in the wall, allowing me to pass right into another apartment. As we do, we hear sounds from upstairs. Is that the super? I should tell him about these walls.
How about the economy of my patience? It's running thin, buddy. Paper thin like these walls.
Through this apartment to the fire escape, we climb up to the next floor, hoping to catch the super because now the fire escape has collapsed. That is a huge violation.
This building is a fucking mess. It violates every code in the books.
But beyond a moldy journal with some cryptic writing, there's no one up here. I always find it weird when there's these homes with windows inside.
Solution for this is that we're going to actually take all of this out.
There's a greasy door behind which is a putrid smell. And we head around and stick our hand through this hole leading into the putrid room. I like that the game makes you keep hitting X to confirm, like, are you sure you want to do this? We get the button for the jukebox and head down back to the streets of Silent Hill. We need to get to the groovy music shop, which I'm all about. Avoiding the rabble outside, we head right there, but it's infested with hipsters, their laced up clothing spitting their acidic vitriol about my music collection. I draw them out one by one to deal with them. When the lying figures are on the ground, they're much faster, but they're also easier to defeat. The second dude is scared to come outside and fight me, so he requires a bit more encouragement. In the back of the store, there's a listening room that looks suspiciously like some coke was done here, and we find the other part for the record in the jukebox and some super glue. Before heading back to the bar, we've got to go check out the Cafe Texan. It has such stellar reviews, alas, the service is non-existent and the employees crawl on the floor. When you try to get your money back, the patrons descend upon us. I'm sorry that I was unsatisfied. Once back at the jukebox, we can move the green thing, then the red thing, green thing, then the blue thing, then the green thing again to put the record in. We place the button in its spot and use the coin to activate the box by selecting C2, and it's just a banger.
One, two, I got big booty bitches, big booty bitches. I got big booty bitches, big booty bitches.
James has a vision, I guess, of Rosewater Park and what appears to be his late wife standing there. Perhaps the record stirred up a memory. The park is our next destination, but we're not entirely sure how to get there. With the bar key dispensed by the jukebox, we head into the back room and push this laundry crate to a window so we can climb over. A note here states that the guy that broke the jukebox came back and tried to get his car in the back lot. There are some useful items in the cars around here because it seems like no one is around anyway. We start breaking some windows.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
At the back of the lot is what remains of the man who broke the jukebox. I think. There's not much left except a key to the Woodside Apartments. The moment we pick it up, a bunch of lying figures descend upon us, opening up an exit that we didn't have before. I don't pick a fight and just run, heading through the streets that now have billowing winds to accompany the thick fog. Eventually, we make it to the doors of the apartment complex. quiet in here, and after picking up the map on the wall, we enter the office, finding a weird piece of furniture covered with a blanket. Looks like we're going to have to find something to get this open. In the mailboxes, we find a note about a complaint of gunshots in 217, although the tenant claims that they don't have a gun, and a search revealed no guns. I would bet that's where we're going to get our first gun. Up the stairs to the second floor, and...
Hello? Is anyone there?
Seriously? Seriously, every game I play has somebody with negative survival skills. The ratio of actual people to monsters doesn't bode well in our favor here. Also, just don't reveal your location. Whatever. There's a room down the hall with an ominous light and sound emanating from it. We have to head right for it. In the room, there's a mannequin with a flashlight. Once we approach... I run back to the stairs to get my bearings, but the thing follows me there. It does eventually give up chase and return to the room. I can see where it's hiding, and I turn my flashlight off, hoping to avoid it. I find some items in the kitchen and head over to the vanity in complete darkness to carefully obtain the courtyard key. Then I slowly exit by way of the kitchen. This is one of the very few times that stealth will be effective in this playthrough. These things are called mannequins, and they are honestly the most annoying enemy in my opinion. I head back down past the office to the courtyard. It's seen better days, I guess. I would really hate it if this was my view from my apartment. We push something over to get us into the window over here. The radio is being all staticky, so I avoid the room it seems to be coming from and get to the hallway, eventually seeing a key through these bars. Our attempts to reach it are thwarted.
Hey! Wait! Damn it. What's a kid doing here?
That is a very good question, James. We head back through the courtyard to this door that the girl opened into another hallway. Monsters can be heard here, which begs the question, why didn't they attack the girl? We find the key at the end of this hall at the bars, seeing that the girl was in the room next to them.
Huh. Quite the artist.
There's an open room that has this very weird wardrobe. I don't know why somebody would make handles like this, but sure. The handle drops a golden apple. There's a lying figure here who's broken out of the room we passed before. And after taking it down, we head into the last room of this hallway, destroying the bugs and searching for supplies. Up to the second floor, we use the key we got to access it. Our goal is room 207, but the door is blocked. We can also find the laundry room with a coin laying on top of garbage in the garbage chute. When we approach the end of the hallway, we see this.
Hey, that guy creeped me out.
What'd I do?
You creeped me out.
In room 213, there's an opening in the wall that we can squeeze through. The only open room is at the end of the hallway. Someone here has been doing some very American shopping. A lone handgun sits in this cart. How they got this up the stairs and into their apartment is beyond me, considering I think it's theft.
People don't realize how much money there are in carts.
There's plenty of ammo scattered around the room, making sure we're fairly well stocked for the fights ahead. As we head back down the hallway, a scream breaks the silence. And we find a massacred body in front of the TV, now on and showing static. This does get us the key to apartment 212, right across the hall. The creepy guy has disappeared from beyond these bars, and while I'm happy he's gone, I have no clue where he is now. Heading out to the balcony, we see just the most depressing apartment view, and head across into another room. Immediately inside, there's a mannequin waiting for us, and because I don't want to deal with it, I shoot it down. There's no other enemies in here, but there's some ammo in the fridge, which I think is the right place to store it. Out in the hallway, a lying figure attacks, but they're not much of a problem at this point. Farther down the hallway, we reach the fire escape and lower the stairs. I draw the other lying figure to the door in an attempt to make its defeat a little easier. Through the window, we see that a mannequin is waiting for us to enter room 207. We're gonna avoid that room for now and head off to the other room down the hall. Here we see a similar wardrobe and use the golden apple to open it, seeing a weird room on the other side. We can push the wardrobe to access it. Once we're through, it immediately shuts. There's a puzzle here where we match the pictures and their numbers to the right, left, right in the poem on the wall. It's not too hard, and we find that it's 13, 7, 11. We get a key and an old man coin, using the key to exit the room. A couple of bugs lurk in this next apartment, and we get another key to a staircase on the second floor. There's a door that opens back into the hallway where we got our gun. The key we just got unlocks the staircase there. Upstairs to the third floor, there's more ammo at the end of the hallway, and I know that there are some enemies through this hole. I try to lure them towards me, but fail, forcing me to find them. For this other one, I try a little cheese. I run back through the hole, leaving the mannequin pretty vulnerable, and for some reason it doesn't try to run away or get through. There's still one more around the corner that gets the jump on me and, well, ends my life. Trying again, I use the technique of getting the enemies mad, then running through the hole. Both of these mannequins are dealt with pretty easily. Now for the other one that's hiding around this corner, but that's not there now. It is in an even worse hiding spot. I head out, finding a weird room towards the end of the hallway, with a note and some healing items. Through another hole, I get jumped by a couple of mannequins and do my best to avoid them and get onto the balcony where I can corral them. One falls for my ruse and is taken down. The rest return to hiding. I don't know where they've gotten off to, and I'm able to explore this area without any issues. There's another weird note on the wall. Who's writing all these? And what are they supposed to mean? There's a place that we can crawl through to get out of apartment 312. Here, we find the canned juice, but it actually seems like a pretty nice hard cider. If we drop this through the garbage chute, the refuse will become dislodged, and we can grab the second coin from the depressing courtyard. I get jump scared by a dryer before heading back down the stairs to this door that leads to a previously unexplored area of the first floor, where we can unlock a door to the courtyard and get the coin. I head back through, hearing somebody retching. Upon entering this room, we can see a body in the refrigerator, although it's unclear what exactly did the guy in. Walking towards the bathroom, we meet Eddie Domborowski.
I didn't do it, I swear!
Hey, are you okay?
I didn't do anything. He was like that when I got here.
He? Oh, you mean the man back there? In the kitchen?
I didn't do it. I swear I didn't kill him.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm not saying that you did. Look, my name is James. James Sunderland.
Eddie.
Eddie, okay. So, do you live here, Eddie?
No. I'm not even from this town. It's just...
Something brought you here.
Yeah, you could say that.
Eddie claims he didn't kill the man in the fridge. I'm not positive if I believe him. He wants to leave the town, but James has work to do. So we leave Eddie to his vomiting. Notice that Eddie's breath is visible, but James isn't. Heading out the window, we see a poorly maintained pool area. Seriously, people pay rent here and they have to deal with this? There's an entire set of furniture in the empty pool. Isn't it somebody's job to handle this?
I mean, what a badly utilised space. I mean, there's not even a towel out here. So
these are the employees. They're doing a terrible job. I know they don't have arms, but then who hired them? I do my best to draw them out of the pool, but one stubborn guy refuses to exit. Against my better judgment, I jump down to investigate the baby carriage in the middle of the pool, grabbing the snake coin just as one of the employees tries to vomit on me. I almost managed to escape without incident, but this guy hovering the outside of the pool manages to get me. Once I get back to the apartment that Eddie is in, they stop chasing me. I try to check on him, but he's kind of a wet blanket.
Eddie, are you gonna be okay?
Yeah, I guess.
Now it's time to complete the coin puzzle, which is a little different from the original. You'll get a riddle that tells you the side and placement of each coin. There are 4 phases of riddles to complete. First, the woman goes under the tree. The flower on the opposite side of the snake coin goes in the far right. Then the man all the way to the left. You'll then flip the man coin to reveal a sword and move it 1 spot to the right along with the woman coin. Then flip the flower back to the snake. The woman flipped to a gravestone, and then the sword flips to the man and moves to the center. In the final riddle, you need to pick which person is at fault for the woman's death. I picked the man because he was the one chasing the woman with a sword, leading her to run and get bitten by a snake. Snake's just doing what it does, and if she wasn't being chased, she would have been fine. I'm not sure if this changes much. I think it will minorly push the needle to what ending you manage to get, but any confirmation I tried to get by searching it was vague. The solution of this puzzle gets us the key to room 201. Heading there, we search around for anything useful, finding what looks like some kind of handkerchief? Gross.
Mother of God.
A mannequin falls to the ground behind us, writhing. Somehow these creatures have entered the room without us noticing. James thinks fast and gets into the closet to hide. He makes a bit too much noise though. This is Pyramid Head, the guy that eventually became the mascot for the Silent Hill series, even though he only really makes sense in this context. If you've seen the movie, you'll know who he is. But his inclusion in that story makes very little sense, something I'll discuss later once we discover more. When we open the door, we can see that we're stepping over a boundary into what seems like another apartment building. This is reminiscent of what happens in the original game. Once we're over, we can see that something huge has slashed through this closet. Perhaps it's a mirror of what could have happened to Jane. The apartment looks decrepit, decaying, and damaged. The wallpaper and paint reveal chain link fences, something that I don't think will pass inspection. In fact, this whole place seems to be in disrepair, as housekeeping seriously isn't doing their jobs.
We need more lemon pledge.
We're now in the Blue Creek apartments, and we can find the map under this light. There are more dangerous versions of enemies here. For instance, this lying figure. It can shoot acid projectiles, and once it's down, as a last-ditch attempt to damage James, it explodes. At the end of the hall, we find this cracked wall. Using our melee weapon, we can break the wall and squeeze through. I can hear enemies in here, but try to make my way through the room without engaging. Moving through, I can see a lying figure mulling about in the kitchen. I managed to make it out into the hallway. In this save room, we can see that the clock puzzle from the first game is back. We're going to need to collect the hour, minute, and second hands to proceed. Outside of this room, into a courtyard that somehow is worse than before, we head through the only open door available to us, witnessing a mannequin having too much screen time. They scurry away, which is enough for me to backtrack. Back out onto this balcony, we see a door with an H on it. Passing it, I face my fears and head back into the mannequin room. There is a bit of jank here as the mannequin has fallen through the floor. It's stuck there, unable to hit me very well, but I can still hit it. In the kitchen is another wall that I can break down. There's some ammo in this baby crib, very American. And once we're out into this room, the radio is going wild. Luckily, it's just a lying figure that's already on the ground, so it's easy to take out. I make sure to get out of the way before it explodes though. Out of this window onto a balcony and up these stairs to a narrow window. Once up here, I can't go back the way I came. Some enemies are on the ground, apparently already defeated, but I don't really trust that. And I head deeper, finding more beaten enemies that I make sure to double tap. Just as I thought, one of them does get up and chase after me. It's dealt with, and I search the kitchen here, finding another breakable wall and continue being cautious of the downed enemies. Without reason not to, I move this cabinet so I can get back through this area later. I'm still betting all of these enemies are going to get back up. In room 307, there's a Fallout radio hanging from the ceiling, drawn up by chains. Uranium fever. There's a few things in the kitchen, and there's only one way we can go. The other door is chained a la Silent Hill 4, so we're going to need some kind of valve in order to remove the chains. Heading out this door, we can jump over this window and... Great, I can't get back. That bodes well. Sure enough, after I turn this valve, two lying figures descend upon me, and I don't do a great job at taking care of them. For whatever reason, this fight got me a little bit. If I didn't die during it, I died later due to the damage that I took here. But it took me a bit to get it down to the point where I could survive. We also find the key to room 306. That's where we'll head next. This mannequin is poorly hiding, and we take it out before we pass. As we approach room 306, a figure starts to get up, so cowardice prevails and we run back to get a better angle. There are more downed enemies in here, and I try to be smart and shoot one of them. No effect, but it does attract the figure from around the corner, so I can take it down before the other one gets up. I don't think damaging them while they're down does anything to their health once they stand up, but I could be wrong. I search the kitchen for supplies, then crawl through this passage here into a bathroom. Of course, the light goes out as I enter. This bathroom could use some lemon pledge, but it does let us see where the mannequin walked, at least. There's a lying figure in the room across the way that I deal with from the kitchen, which activates the mannequin. I retreat to the bathroom to finish it off. After turning the valve, we're sure to pick it up again. Through the door that opens, we see a mannequin running off and shoot it before it can get away. Another one lurks in the room to the right. I search the opposite direction and get some ammo where there must have been a hell of a party. 3 nice red leather chairs and 1 wheelchair. I want to know what happened here. There's another lying figure down the hall, and another one tries to get the jump on me, but no dice. Back to the radio room, we use the valve we got to get rid of the last chain, making the radio fall and giving us the hour hand. Out this door to the fire escape, there's a lever that lowers some stairs, allowing us to head right back to the clock room. Moving the hour hand to the 9 o'clock position opens the H door that somebody pounded on earlier. This apartment actually seems fairly pristine. We see a locked door and some kind of bird puzzle along this wall. The only way out is by bashing the wall in the kitchen, which I'm upset about because this is really like the nicest apartment I've seen here. A super gross toilet greets us and James reluctantly reaches into it, getting the minute hand. That was easy. Unlatching the door and re-entering the room, it immediately decays. We do find this bird statue, obviously for the puzzle along the wall. A lying figure bursts through the door, met with my bullets. In the hallway, I head over to room 209, finding some ammo and a giant hole in the back bedroom to this creepy bathroom. It appears that a lying figure is waiting to ambush us, but we're able to get this jumble of roots or something without getting attacked. Turns out, it's just a mannequin. A real mannequin. Not these foot for hands Back into the hallway, I head down to this breakable wall. In this room, we can find another part of the figurine. There are obviously mannequins in this room, and we can shoot through the wall to take one of them out. I'm not expecting the other one, but it's easy enough. At the bird puzzle, we create the swan model and place it to balance the other bird, getting the winged key. This is used on the door right behind us, where there's a hole in the floor that looks like a xenomorph made it. I head into room 109, and upon opening this door, we find Angela laying on the floor of a mirrored room with a knife. She's having thoughts of killing herself, something that James does his best to steer her away from.
Look, I'm not sure what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Really? What's the point? It's easier just to run. Maybe it's all we deserve.
We?
Me. You. We're all the same.
I'm not like you.
Are you afraid? Sorry.
It's okay. Did you find your mother?
No. Not yet.
Did she live here? In this building?
I don't know.
So all you know is that she lived in this town?
What did you say? How did you know that?
Well, I just figured because this is where you're looking for her. How else would I know?
Yeah. Did you find the person that you were looking for?
Not yet. Her name's Mary. She's my wife.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I have to find my mama.
Should I go with you? This town really is dangerous. Now I know what you meant back there in the cemetery.
No, it's okay. Besides, I'd just slow you down.
What about that?
Will you hold it for me?
Sure. No problem.
If I kept it, I'm not sure what I might do. No! I'm sorry! I've been bad! Please don't!
At certain points, Angela seems to be almost accusatory, and she doesn't really make eye contact with James or at the picture of Mary. Angela obviously is tormented by something in her past, and the stress of the town is weighing on her. Whatever has happened to her, she's considering ending her life. And it seems like she's seeing things that aren't there or is going through some serious psychological break. James grabs the knife and the key of resilience off the table before leaving. Back down the hall, we can use the key on the double doors here. We can see the S door for the second hand, for whenever we find it. There's a mannequin in the stairwell, which looks suspiciously like one in the original game. We're right by the clock, so we place the minute hand on the 2 o'clock spot and head out to the M door. This room is infested with moths, which gives me the creeps. I like moths just fine, but the noises that they're making makes my skin crawl. I break down the wall here and search this room for clues as to the solution to the lock on the door. There are symbols scribbled next to the lock, but I hate puzzles, so it's 373. In here, we can reach into this oozing hole to finally get the second hand. When we get out, we see cuts in the wall similar to what we saw when we entered the Blue Creek apartments. Some creepy mannequins have also spawned beyond this chain link fence, unless I somehow missed this before. The second hand is placed at 3 o'clock, and I search the clock room for a final time, collecting everything that I can before heading downstairs. Once we enter the S door, we're greeted by Pyramid Head with a Buster Sword. He's hunting James now, trying to kill him with his big-ass knife. I know it sounds weird, but I'm not interested in fighting. I stay as far away as I can from him, using the debris to slow him down. This doesn't work forever because he destroys most of it, leaving me to use my poor dodging skills to get through the fight. I don't actually have to fire a shot. After 3 minutes, the classic Silent Hill alarm sounds. Pyramid Head just gives up, opening the way out. We're back into the foggy town, making our way through the streets, grabbing any items that we can, even if we have to do a little B&E.
Stop right there!
On our way, we run into Laura, the kid that kicked the key away from us.
What's a little girl like you doing here anyway?
I don't know. What's a big dum-dum like you doing here anyway?
Hey, that's not very nice. Didn't your parents teach you any manners? What you got there?
None of your business. You didn't love Mary anyway.
What? Hey, wait! How do you know her name?
So somehow this girl also knows Mary, meaning that she might have some idea as to where she is. There's no way around to where she dropped beyond the wall, so we're gonna head into Rosewater Park. Getting to the pier, we run into someone at the gazebo.
Mary? No. You're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend?
No, my late wife. I can't believe it. Your face, your voice, you could be...
My name is Maria.
So this is Maria, who looks like our late wife. She's dressed differently and is pretty flirty. She seems to have an ulterior motive.
I mean, there's this one place. Not far from here.
What kind of place?
The kind two lovers might call special. I can show you if you want. Unless you have somewhere else to be. Something else to do. Hey, easy there. I'm just messing with you. Come on. It's this way.
Can't you just tell me where it is?
Wait. You're just gonna leave me here? Is it because I remind you of her? You loved her, didn't you? Didn't you?
All right, just... Come on.
James is going to follow her lead wherever in hopes that she can lead us to Mary. Notice too how she asked if James loved Mary, almost accusing him of not. We walk off the dock and back into the park. There's a sweet carving on the bench and a statue here that we discuss with Maria. I scour the park for any supplies before we get back onto the streets of Silent Hill. At Jack's Inn, Maria says some weird voyeurist stuff.
The walls are so thin, you can hear everything. Love, hate, jealousy.
Jeez, dude, watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives or something. Don't do that to actual people. In the office, there's a safe that we need a code for. Luckily, there's a note stating that the super went to fix the pipes in room 107. Entering room 106, we see a familiar scene. James mentions that there's something off. I'm pretty sure this room is modeled after the room that Heather and Douglas stay in during the course of Silent Hill 3, which begs the question, do the events of Silent Hill 2 overlap with Silent Hill 3? Did James come to town after the events of Silent Hill 3? This might be a cute Easter egg, but this series doesn't really work like that. It could be confirmation that Bloober has plans for other games in the series, and indeed, a remake of the original Silent Hill game has been announced. That has to be made before 3, as those games connect. Whatever it is, I don't know if I like it or not. Thinking about it now, it might have something to do with a theory that we'll talk about later. We head up to the second floor, breaking this window and letting Maria through the door. I search the room, finding a breakable wall. Scrooching through it, we find some items and a note explaining what the code is for the safe. Maria asks if she'd look good in this outfit, which is the outfit that Maria wore in the original game. James gives a glowing review.
Sure.
Not quite the ringing endorsement.
Once it's opened, Maria gets attacked by a mannequin that we hit off of her. Using the key from the safe on the gate, we head back out into the street, finding a very wildly moving paper bag in the wind.
And this bag was just dancing.
Through this door, we can find a house with this scene. Maria mentions that
this place just gives me the creeps. I'm not sure why.
You ever been inside?
I'm not sure. It does feel familiar somehow.
You see, this is Baldwin Mansion, an area that you visit in the Born From a Wish DLC that was available for the original game. This DLC has you playing as Maria in the events leading up to her meeting James. As we walk, Maria tries to make conversation.
3 years. That's a long time. What will you tell her when you find her?
That I love her.
Oh, then. Lucky her.
We search the houses for various items before we get to the end of the road.
Strange. This should not be here.
Well, it is. So, what now?
Now we look for another way.
James and Maria approach a chain link fence, but are attacked almost immediately.
James?
He's right behind me, isn't he?
We use the board to jam the fence, but instantly get an upgrade in the form of a steel pipe, a staple weapon in the Silent Hill franchise. The wind has picked up again, and enemies are everywhere. Luckily, Maria is more useful than Ashley in Resident Evil 4. She can keep up without much help, and she'll stay out of the way of enemies. I don't think she can die. I didn't do any experiments to find out. Reaching this fence, the chase is over, and we can move on to where Maria was leading us. Approaching the red door, Maria encourages us to try it, but it's locked. She has the key in her cleavage the whole time. So why make James try the lock? Did she just want to essentially reach into her bra for the key? Probably. James is much more of a horn dog in the original game, trying to cop a look while Maria grabs the key. We're in some kind of kitchen with kegs and a syringe. Maria disappears, but we see a dressing room where Maria continues to mess with us. At least I hope it's Maria. You can see what this place actually is, a strip club. Maria turns on the lights and music striding onto the stage. So I guess that we can assume that Maria is a stripper here in Silent Hill. Maria takes a spot behind the bar, talking to James about if he's crazy for thinking Mary could be here. She offers us some alcohol, something that James declines, being a bit shifty in the process. I like this addition, suggesting that James had turned to alcohol to process Mary's illness and death. He's either in recovery or trying not to turn to drink, especially in this town. She's guarding the door and we inform her that we're ready to move on. James is loyal to his woman.
We could come back later if you want, you know?
I'm not sure if that's a good idea.
Through the streets, we find an alleyway that we can pass through.
Look, we're on the other side of that chasm. Some detour. But hey, at least we're here.
It seems to suggest that if James just grew some balls and broke down a door with his pipe, we could have bypassed all this. We're nearby a movie theater, a pretty nice one. I miss small, local movie theaters. Maybe I'd go see a movie if they weren't soulless boxes with no halfway decent arcade games. Times change, and I hate it. We find a metal gate that leads to a park where we learn a little more about the lore of the town.
There's a story told around these parts. Kind of a local legend. It tells of a woman who was cast out, sentenced to die on an island out on the lake. There was a man in town who fell madly in love with her. And every night, he would sneak out, row across the lake, bringing her food and company.
Bang, bangity bang, I said a bang, bang, bangity bang.
The story is about a sad lady who kept putting a candle out after a dude died trying to get to her during a storm. Which is kind of Darwinism, right? Why didn't you just wait until the storm was over?
Bang, 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 bangity bang, I said a bang, bang, bang.
James is upset that Maria has basically taken us on like the worst walking tour of Silent Hill, and we are no closer to finding our dead wife. Maria tries to comfort us when we hear something in the distance.
Look, we can still...
Come on.
It seems to have come from the theater we saw before. There's still some glass on the window. So James, being the gentleman, insists that Maria stay outside. Once through, we can hear Eddie and Laura having a conversation.
Told you. It was this big rat. It jumped right at me from under the seat. I would have screamed too if you saw it. You gutless fatso.
Hey, what do you have to say that for?
Laura mentions that the police might be after Eddie. He's fairly confident they didn't follow him here, though. After we push this cabinet, they're alerted to us, but I take my time, bathing in the nostalgia of a movie theater with some semblance of character. 50s chic, a central concession stand, boxes of ammo in the bathrooms. Eventually, we head into the actual theater and see Eddie eating ice cream with his hands. He almost doesn't remember James. He seems to be a bit out of it.
At least you got your appetite back.
So, James offends Eddie with his appetite comment, but in James's defense, we did just see Eddie throwing up. And dude, you're eating ice cream with your hands. If you're gonna do stuff like that, you need to have a hard look at yourself. Eddie mentions that Laura ran off. He's uninterested in helping and knows that James really doesn't want him tagging along anyway. I doubt there's running water. Dude is gonna have sticky fingers forever. Also, notice we can see Eddie's breath again, like he's surrounded by cold. We find our way upstairs to the projector rooms, searching the drawers for anything before going through these rows and rows of film. Ducking under this ladder, Laura sees us and keeps running.
Laura, stop! It's dangerous!
Maria? Did you see a little girl?
Yeah, I tried to stop her, but she went that way. We can still catch her.
As we head down the road, we see Laura ducking into Brookhaven Hospital. A hospital! Great. This won't be terrifying at all. There are some items in the courtyard that I collect before heading in. As we walk into the hospital, we see...
Is that a gun cabinet? In a hospital?
Only in America.
Tellingly, there are shotgun shells in this drawer. Upon entering the hospital, we're greeted by a fairly typical lobby with a pamphlet map of the hospital. It's not even that big. Why do they have tourist flyers with maps like the ones they give you at museums? Or Six Flags, whatever. There's ammo at the front desk.
Only in America.
And we find a note about where a lock combination is. A flurry of papers fly away from the window as we walk into the back office. Here we find the combination lock mentioned in the note. Most doors are locked, so I head down to exam room 3, as mentioned in the note, while checking out the lovely, not at all unnerving photographs around the lobby. When we get to the room, there's no direct way through. We've got to smash some glass and jump through the opening. There's a syringe in here, and in the next room, there's a note on this desk about the combination. The solution is connected to the pictures in the lobby. Nurses, doctors, trees. We just have to look at the number of each and put them in order on the lock. 7, 2, 4. We get the key to the basement, just exactly where I want to be going.
Just when I thought things couldn't get any creepier.
My thoughts exactly, Maria.
This place feels so empty. More than the other places we've been.
You lost me, Maria. We have seen exactly 3 other people besides ourselves. I'm not a mathematician, but that's only 5 people in the whole town. In the stairwell, we see Laura vandalizing the hospital, drawing a wolf chasing a rabbit. Perhaps this is how she sees James right now. I don't know. This game isn't really known for its symbolism. The door Laura ran through is locked and has the exact same sign to keep closed as the strip club. What's going on in this town? We head through to the basement, grabbing the map as we walk in. Maria runs ahead, trying to get the elevator working. She's a bit overconfident that there aren't any enemies around here, a fact I do not trust, and keep my weapon drawn as I search the area. There's a generator here in need of some juice, and as we head out into the hallway, I drop my guard at exactly the wrong moment. I don't know why I didn't have my weapon drawn when I was deliberately looking for enemies. The game feels sorry for me and gives me a health drink in this cabinet. Another mannequin attacks but ignores Maria and focuses on me. My pipe also ignores Maria, which is lucky because she keeps walking in between me and the mannequin. She keeps doing it as we're attacked again. What the hell? I'm still able to defeat it and push this cart over to a high window and jump through, opening the door for Maria and realizing that I'm missing something to put the oil for the generator into. I take my anger out on a mannequin farther down the hallway, unlocking this gate and getting attacked again. I swear I double tapped this creep. The newly opened gate allows us to get back to the generator room, but the gas canister is actually in this middle room, guarded by another hiding mannequin and sitting on these pallets. I get the fuel and head back to the generator, powering up the elevator. We're rudely pranked by a lying figure, and we treat them the way we'd like to treat all prank content creators. Taking the elevator up to the second floor, seeing this broken window and yet another eerie hallway, Maria starts looking sick and ducks into one of the hospital rooms. She takes a rest on the bed, claiming it's probably a hangover. James wants to go find Laura, but before we can leave...
James? I wanted to ask you. What if you can't find Mary? What will you do?
I haven't really thought about that.
Which, yeah, I know Maria's kind of messing with him right now. We explore this hall, finding a save room and some items. I forgot to mention there are various posters like this one, and they're very concerning. Through these double doors, we continue our search for Laura, but there's something else lurking in this hallway. Nurses are the most lethal basic enemy and take the most amount of damage. They're fast when they get up close and have a lot of combo attacks. Searching this lobby, I find a coded door to the office. A note on the window reveals that the code should be in the doctor's lounge. I decide to investigate the director's office first. It has these green lamps that I used to see everywhere, revealing this prosthetic arm. There are 3 bracelets that we're going to need to collect to get a key that's gripped in its hand. A tape player here explains that the director was focused on 3 patients that are beyond hope. We can find the records for each of these patients and find out that their ailments were mental, and they were disassociating from reality, which was causing serious issues. Behind the curtains, there's this safe with a series of weird symbols, and one of them is missing. The red room has a locked door, so there isn't much in here, but we have our overall mission. I find a Shawshank poster with this symbol under it. The interview transcript we find is disturbing. There's another nurse down the opposite hallway, and it's set pieces like this that really make this game great. Deeper into the hospital, this wing looks a bit more disheveled. Immediately, we're greeted with a locked door. In the women's locker room, we find a horrific teddy bear with a bent needle that pricks us. There's a shotgun in the locker from the gun safe downstairs. It's concerning that it's in the women's locker room for more than a few reasons. Either the nurse felt she needed to defend herself from someone with the shotgun, or she's really fed up with a patient. There's a nurse stalking around the nurse's station that I lure out of the room to dispatch. While I do, another one joins the chase, forcing me farther down the hallway. There's a key to L1 in the room down the hall. L1 is creepy. I always hate when there's sheets over everything, mostly because it leads to a jump scare. There's nothing here but a cart that we need to push over to this window. A note in a journal talks about a girl that seems to be in extreme distress. The writer tried to help her. Pretty sure this is referencing one of the hopeless cases the doctor mentioned. Jumping through this window and out the door, going around this corner to find a hole in the wall. With nowhere else to go, James climbs the wall and starts moving down. If I've learned anything from The Matrix, this is not a great idea. We do fall, but we're behind an easily pushable cabinet that leads us to an electrical room. Crawling through this other vent? That I don't know what these are, actually. In this next room, we find notes, probably from the girl mentioned before about being in the same room as someone. Under a blanket fort, we find the marked bracelet. So I'm probably right in thinking that these notes were regarding one of the cases in the director's office. We hear a noise as we turn around. And sure enough, a mannequin has appeared out of nowhere beyond this bookcase. I don't take any chances and take it down with my handgun and unlock the door. Somehow, the mannequin is still after me, but it's defeated. We're back to the first floor lobby in front of the office. We can see presumably some time has passed. It's now pitch black outside. The lobby is no longer safe. Nurses now stalk the corridors. I find out firsthand why I mentioned they're the hardest enemy. They take a ton of hits and are actually pretty agile, dodging and pushing me away, following up with a flurry of attacks. I change my strategy and shoot them as much as I can before they approach. I finish them off with my pipe.
Okay, boys, stay with me.
I call the elevator again, getting back up to the second floor. Into the director's office, I drop the bracelet we just found and head down the stairwell. As we climb, we find more of Laura's paintings. I'm just noticing this now, but the hospital appears to be deteriorating. Boxes and furniture are being piled up, things covered in sheeting. This might be connected to there being enemies in places where there weren't any before. The location is changing as we explore it, which is creepy. I think this may be part of why I like this game so much, and like the original when I was a kid. There wasn't much to do in my town, or at least that's how we all felt back then. So we would go to abandoned and haunted places in our free time, even though we weren't really supposed to be there. Checking this thick door, we see Laura drawing again. I do think James has the best intentions for Laura. I don't think him relentlessly chasing her is the best look. Makes him seem a bit weird. I get there's monsters and stuff, but they don't appear to be bothering her. I dodge this room with the nurse inside by turning my light off and walking past. Using the stairs at the end of the hall for cover for some reason, I deal with another nurse stalking here. We see another document about the patient being held here, refusing food, acting aggressively to staff, and being touched, winding up with the patient being restrained for feeding and bathing. The last line trails off. Something's very wrong. I break the glass here, finding a key to a locked area on the first floor. Unlatching this door leads us to another gross hallway with a locked door requiring a combination. There's an open window here that leads us to the x-ray room. Here we find an x-ray on the table, putting it with the others on the viewer and matching the marker lines up. This reveals the first number of a combination, but we're missing the rest. I head down the hall and opt to fight the nurse in D3. This is absolutely not worth the effort. I use the key on the locked double doors on the first floor, immediately hearing some enemies. I try to draw them through these doors, but get jump scared by a lying figure that runs off to the stairwell. Because I was silly and chased it, my setup for the nurse is ruined, and I grow desperate, pulling out the shotgun. I explore this newly opened area further, finding the doctor's lounge. If you remember, we need to find the code to the second floor office here. We find a note about another patient who was put here on a court order. He appeared to be getting better, but once someone noticed that a key was missing, it was too late to save the guy. Presumably, he managed to kill himself. Even the doctors are strapped as we find some ammo in the drawer. On the back wall by the desk, we find this drawing. This should be the code we need. We pass through a locker room before exiting to the first floor lobby again. In the day room, we see a nurse doing their shaky head thing. I draw her through the lobby to take care of her. We grab some ammo here before heading through the hole in the wall. Into the pharmacy, things look nefarious. Turns out the blood is from a patient who ran from the pool, cutting himself in the process. The doctor explains that he was manic, making stitching him up difficult. The drain in the corner has some green liquid flowing into it. I might be crazy, but I feel like we've seen this liquid before. The window here leads out into a courtyard full of enemies. Too many for me to try and defeat, so I try to plan my next move carefully. Looking at the map, it appears that we are headed to the greenhouse and then the pool. So I have to head diagonally right when I get through this window, avoiding the enemies along the way. There's a lying figure waiting for us in the greenhouse that I'm able to juke. It does follow me into the pool though, and I try to run away instead, right into the arms, legs, stumps, whatever, of a mannequin. Oh. Miraculously, I'm able to deal with both of them and the cockroach roaming around here. Rubber tubing is sitting on the sink in the bathroom here. When we get back to the drain, we can combine it with the bent needle from the teddy bear to MacGyver a tool to fish the maintenance key out. Back to the pool, we use this key on the hatch, turning the valve and draining the pool, revealing a few lying figures. Breaking down the wall here, we find the blood-stained bracelet. I hurry out of the pool even though the lying figures don't actually get up. I go back to make a save at the office in the lobby and one of the nurses tries to get back up. I don't think I've seen this before and it might happen later, I just wanted to mention it. Back up to the second floor, I head to the office to enter the code with the drawing we got in the doctor's lounge. defeating the nurses guarding it and searching this closet beside. The code is 3578, unless you couldn't figure this out. We find some ammo in here before entering a really unsanitary room. I mean, up to this point, we've seen questionable practices, but there is quite the infestation in here, and the tubs could use some bleach. Or fire. In one of the tubs is a moldy radiograph, and for us to use it, we're going to have to clean it off. So it's back to the first floor. Taking out a nurse, we find our way to the kitchen, where conveniently we see mold remover, which clears off the x-ray. I head up to the third floor to the x-ray room. After placing the previously moldy radiograph, the code is revealed. It is 43712, and we enter another gross room. We witness just so much money being poured into sheet physics as James investigates the bed, finding something gross. It looks like intestines or something. And in the middle of these is the filthy bracelet. With all the bracelets found, we return to the director's office. The puzzle here is to match the bracelet to the placement on the arm. Then turn them to this clear patch to reveal a code and get the key that the hand grasped. It's used on this locked door, and we find the missing piece of the safe. There's also a book placement puzzle. You just have to make sure that the picture makes sense on the spines. This will reveal what symbols go with the numbers on the arm. This creates the code for the safe. The symbols are Deathly Hallows, lowercase h, male, nipple, Satan, and Super Smash Brothers. We get a key to the rooftop and a weird note. I run past the nurse, turning off my light as I do so, then head to the roof by way of the second stairwell. On the roof, we see that night has descended fully and there's heavy rain pouring down. Going into this little room, finding a depressing note before running directly into Pyramid Head. When we come to on the other side of this heavy door where we saw Laura, there's a few healing items and some ammo in this treatment room, and we unlock a door leading to the second stairwell. Laura's still depicting James as a wolf, which isn't great. There's a few padded rooms in here, including one with some blood that looks familiar. We find Laura hiding amongst more rooms.
Why do you keep running away from me? And how do you know about Mary?
I just do. What's the big deal?
Why can't you just tell me?
You gonna yell at me if I don't?
No. I won't, please, just... I need to know.
Mary's my friend. We met at the hospital last year.
Stop lying! Laura, I'm sorry.
Fine! Don't believe me! See if I care!
Hey! James, this is the exact fucking thing she was talking about. If you want information, just let her finish talking. She runs away, predictably, and James follows, saying,
I'm sorry, Laura, but I can't let you just run around this place. You might get hurt.
Hurt by what?
Look, just stay with me, okay? This is no place for a kid.
Fine. But there's something I gotta get.
Laura.
It's important.
What is it?
A letter. For Mary.
What?
I hid it. In there.
Laura doesn't seem to know that the town is dangerous. It's almost like she's not seeing any of the same horrors we are. She does manage to trick James, though, in a pretty smart manipulation for a girl her age. She tells James to head deeper into the room to find the letter. Once he's far enough, she locks him in.
Get out of here, you brat!
In your dreams, fart face.
Please open the door. There's something in here.
Sure there is. A big lying fart face. See a fart face?
Laura! Laura!
And we enter another boss fight. This abomination is called Flesh Lips. I might be demonetized for saying that. I'm not monetized in the first place, though, so I guess they can't demonetize you if you're not monetized in the first place. It hangs above the ceiling tiles and drops down to attack us. In the back corner of the room, there's some supplies that will help if you're like me and have been pretending that I'm playing with infinite ammo. Once the fight starts, you can get a few hits with the pipe before it heads up into the ceiling. Through most of this part of the fight, I keep moving and run along the walls. Now, you can shoot it in the body every time it drops down, but that takes a lot of ammo to get to phase 2. The best strategy is to save ammo and shoot the hand when it drops through the ceiling. You can see where it is while there are still ceiling tiles by the dust that falls when it moves. After the first pipe hit, the cage will start to become these rusty arms that will strike out at James. I'm terrible at timing my dodges, probably why I hate playing Souls games, but I started to understand that after 3 hits with my pipe, I should dodge. As it takes more damage, it releases more appendages. Once all of the arms are released, it heads back up into the ceiling. Breaking out, it runs through the wall at the end of the room. There are more items in this new area, but they're tougher to get to because now they're fast flesh lips. I start off with my pipe. I still have some healing left, so I'm holding onto my ammo for as long as possible. When I start to run out of health, I'm going to resort to my shotgun. Any attempts to get distance are pretty unsuccessful. So I start blasting. This triggers the lips to go back up into the ceiling. This is the best opportunity I have to heal or reload. Once I'm out of shells, I take out the handgun, desperately firing and dodging until... James inspects closely, then gets grabbed by more flesh lips. James is moving through the hallway of a hospital, hearing his wife call out to him. In a flash, and with the siren ringing in the distance, the ceiling changes, decayed walls and dripping pipes. James wakes up severely injured. The walls around him appear more like wet skin. Things have changed at the hospital as we enter a changed day room on the first floor. I'm not sure how I feel about Silent Hill using wheelchairs for scary scenery, very ableist of them. I've never seen wheelchairs as inherently creepy, but this isn't the first Silent Hill game where they use this. There's a note on the wheelchair. It seems almost like it's written in the director's voice more so than the other patients. In the hallway, we get a good look at what's happened to the hospital. Walls and floors are grated metal covered in sheeting. Everything is dirty, rusty, or moldy. There are holes to the abyss in the floor. I don't like it, so I cautiously make my way through the hallways. Without incident, we get onto the elevator and into the second floor lobby. The door to the moldy treatment room from earlier is now open. The computers have been stored strangely, and the walls have disintegrated. Everything has this sickly green haze, and there's a bubbling tub. Gross. We can hear some enemies nearby. I don't really want to fight now, so I head back into the lobby, removing this cover to reveal a box with 3 locks, 2 codes, and 1 key. Now I'm going to stop right here and explain that I cheated a little bit. You see, I had recorded myself going through the hospital, finding the code, and doing the light puzzle, which is infuriating. So to re-record from a save file that I had was really my only option, and I didn't really have a save file left from the hospital. Now, I've explained I do not have much time, and I have a lot of videos that I want to make, so I just found the codes and put them in. You can have them here, too. The button lock is 9659, and the combo lock is 1622. I still have to find the final key to get the box open. I have no choice but to explore where I heard a monster lurking before. I see a nurse in the distance, but don't see that they're looking worse. These are nightmare nurses, and they have a knife instead of a pipe. Even though I fire a few shots, it doesn't follow me. forcing me to go back and shoot at it a couple more times. Maybe this was the AI trying to trick me into an ambush, probably giving it too much credit. The mannequins keep tricking me, so honestly, maybe I'm the problem? I turn off my light to avoid the nurse that's farther away. Sneaking past, I crawl through the hole in the wall. I don't think the nurse can climb under, so I think I'm safe for the moment to search for some things. I try to take the nurse out with my handgun and for some reason engage with my pipe.
Okay, boys, stay with me.
And get stabbed. I run into the lobby and continue firing. I do see that the nurses run away after taking some damage, so I could have been right about the AI before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear something almost like an announcement over the intercom here. I don't see any enemies around here, so I'm wondering what that noise was. Of course, it could just be good sound design, like the intercom is glitching out or something. I find the stairwell and start to head up. We're back at the big door next to the x-ray room. The wall between is gone now, and a note is laid on the table with a weird poem. On the viewer, we see x-rays of barbed chains, one around someone's neck and the other inside their skull. In the next room is a mannequin, a normal one, sitting on a wheelchair. It appears to be in a defensive position. Next to it is a hammer, instrument of force. We can move the hands and use the hammer to disintegrate one of the arms. Moving the other arm, we find that we need something to access the mannequin's eye. Hopping over this window, we can hear the light static of the radio and enemies in the distance. Without sufficient ammo or healing at this point, I have to be careful. I do use most of my stock in this fight. But at least I didn't take any damage. Oh, what the f***? As we head deeper, there are two mannequins hiding out. One gets alerted when I go for this health drink and I get caught in this hallway. I don't know why these guys are so difficult for me to get the timing right with. For the other one hiding under this desk, I do my best to stay as far away from it, breaking down this wall and sliding into this room. The only thing in here is a terrible looking ladder. Indeed, at the bottom are a bunch of enemies, squeaking and screeching around. I see a lying figure scurry away, leaving a trail of bile behind. As I make my way around the kitchen, Gordon Ramsay would be very upset.
The most disgusting kitchen ever!
The lying figure loops and tries to get the jump on me, but is unsuccessful. I've been traumatized by the mannequins at this point, so I'm being extra careful, looking around every corner with my gun drawn. I'm right to be concerned, as the mannequins apparently can spawn out of nowhere. It doesn't move, so I turn my flashlight off and try to approach it quietly. It doesn't even react after I start hitting it and phases into the sink. I'm not sure what happened. I leave it to head into what used to be a bathroom. The nurse in here is pissed that I've gone into the women's room, but honestly, there's no wall. What was I supposed to do? I head out into another area where a nurse lurks. I try to be stealthy to get ammo on the table, but fail. Or maybe there isn't really a good way to do this. I retreat, but I have to get into the room behind her. With my light off, I get past the first nurse, seeing another one in the room. I would have been successful, except for a f***ing mannequin. Again. I managed to get through the crack in the wall. The mannequin does not follow. In here is a hole with some interesting artwork around it containing a lobotomy spike. Key of bliss. Luckily, I don't have to get through the mannequin and nurses again. There's a latch door here that leads right out to the ladder up to the 3rd floor. I head right back to the wheelchair mannequin and use the key of bliss to get the lapis eye key. This is the last key to the box in the lobby. Inside the box is nothing. The gross sheeting on the wall falls, revealing a door with a lady on it. A mural next to the door also has a woman with flowers painted. As James approaches, we can see that it almost looks as if the lady is coming out of the door. At first, I thought she was sticking her tongue out, but no, it's the elevator button to the -1st floor. I love how it's not just the basement, it's the -1st floor. We head down to the basement and listen to the game show guy on the elevator.
Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to another exciting edition of Trick or Treat.
If you don't want to listen to this, you can destroy the speaker it's coming out of. I found this out before I played through this because, let's be real, you can just look up the answers if you need it. Spoiler alert, I forgot to get the items in this reward chest. We're going to rip that band-aid off before I get to it, and because of this oversight, I believe that's why the struggle began in earnest for me. In this dark lower level, a nightmare nurse stalks the halls. One hit and I'm going to die. So I do my best to sneak around the nurse, but she's guarding my way out. Without another option, I waste ammo on her. Another mannequin lurks in the corner. I start to get better at shooting the mannequin legs to stun them, then going in for a pipe kill. I finally find a health drink, but nothing else. Yep, turns out I'm actually supposed to go through this crack in the wall. I don't know why I had to come down here at all. I'm in the generator room again, searching it before heading out into the hallway. This mannequin thinks it's smart, sitting there behind the shelf. I grab the ammo it was guarding and then head through the laundry room. I'm desperate for this health drink, but I know there are enemies lurking. So I turn off my light and of course am immediately attacked. At least it's this guy who's pretty easy to get rid of. Out into this hallway, we find another crack in the wall to this room with a bunch of tanks or something. There's a nurse in the distance, so I go back through the crack and fire at her from beyond it. She's just about to climb through, something I hadn't seen an enemy do before. Heading through these rooms, I get a pallet that we can use to jump through this window through another crack. There's a copper ring sitting on this table with bloody handprints. A copper ring? In this economy? That's what you can expect for a wedding ring at this point. Someone approaches from the hallway.
James!
Mary! Oh. Maria, I thought... Sorry. Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
Anyway? What do you mean, anyway? I was almost killed back there. I have never been so scared in my whole life. All you care about is that dead wife of yours. You couldn't care less about me, could you?
No, I just...
Then stay with me. Don't leave me alone again. You're supposed to take care of me.
Is he? You guys just met like an hour ago, if that. Yeah, you look like my dead wife, but you've made it clear you're not her. Also, James, pick your words better. Maria asks about Laura and almost chastises James for letting her get away. I mean, she locked us in a room with flesh lips, but okay.
I'd never met her before. I just feel sorry for her. She's all alone and... I don't know, for some reason I feel like it's up to me to protect her.
Okay. Down the hallway Maria came from, we get to a stairwell and head up to the first floor. It's raining in the hallway here.
What the hell is that?
Well, what do you know? A stroll in the rain. How romantic.
Maria, what are you talking about?
I'm trying to keep things light, James. It's just you and me.
Yeah, is that rain or some kind of drippage from the gross surroundings? I guess if we look closely at the map, there could be a hole in the roof that this is coming through. Whatever. In this room, we find a refrigerator that has a very heavy door. James asks for some assistance, and Maria is very sexist.
You're supposed to be the big man around here. How's a little girl like me supposed to help?
It's 2025, Maria. Women can be strong too. After our duo gets infected with cordyceps, Maria picks up the lead ring, giving it to us daintily and wiping off her hands, as though the whole place around you isn't already disgusting. Now that we have the two rings, we have to return to the door with the woman on it. On the way, we find another memo that I swear is from the perspective of the doctor. The elevator takes us up to the second floor with the lady door. Maria starts to get freaked out.
James?
What's wrong?
Let's just get out of here, okay?
We place the copper and lead rings. I'm not sure if there's a specific way to do this, so I just put them on randomly. The door ominously opens to a stairwell headed down. Maria, frankly, looks terrified.
What's wrong? I thought you wanted to get out of here.
I know. It's just...
It's gonna be fine.
So Maria is reacting to places throughout the town. First at this mansion, now at this stairwell. James is very confident that everything is going to be fine, even though everything we've seen indicates the contrary, including this ominous note. Down the long stairwell, we enter this winding hallway. As we pass this grating, we sense something following us from the door we arrived through.
Run!
And we indeed run, jumping over debris that falls in our way. It seems like the whole place is falling apart as we move forward. Maria is ahead of us the whole time, but apparently James got wise and pulled her back to slow down Pyramid Head.
An elevator!
Are you really that selfish?
Apparently.
James gets to the elevator expecting that there will be some kind of safety measure for the doors. This elevator follows the same rules as the Resident Evil movie, though. James falls in despair. He's failed to save Maria, even though, again, she was ahead of us. When the doors open, he takes a while to pick himself up. As a player, I'm very happy Maria is gone. Nothing worse than an escort mission. We're on the first floor, but it's dark outside, meaning everything remains gross and unnerving. Heading into the office, we find a note with a key to the front doors. The note mentions a lot about the other side, that lies on the border where reality and unreality intersect. This note isn't from the director, it's from someone else. And they're in the mindset that if somebody is comfortable in their delusions or imaginations, are we doing more harm than good by ripping them away? Laura is outside running through the rainy streets. She's gonna catch a cold. I know that's not actually true, but still, James continues his pursuit. Leaving the hospital, we make a beeline through the street to this door without stopping for the mannequin that attacks when we go through. I use the shotgun to take out this nurse, then crush the cockroach. There's a mannequin in this room hiding under the table. Before breaking the wall, I search for items. In this storeroom, there's some ammo on the shelf and a save point. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the amount of deaths I experienced here, but it was one of the times that I was killed by the cockroach back in the nurse mannequin room. I'm probably the only person ever killed by one of those things. Through this next door, there are some mannequins hiding and a nightmare nurse covering our way out. I wait for her to show up, then take her out with a handgun, shotgun, kicking to death combo. Turning my light off, I hug the left wall and walk my way over to the cart that we need to move. I think there are 2 mannequins hiding in here, and if I do this, neither of them are alerted and I can safely move the cart and climb over this gate without issue. Back out onto the streets again, avoiding the nurses, we enter the diner and barely make it out into the parking lot. I do a lot of endless dodging to try and get around the bus and through the gate. Turning right down the road, we see Laura going through a metal door to this throughway. The enemies here are mandarins. They hang under us, roaring to stun us and hitting us with the tentacle that I think comes out of their mouth. They're not really worth fighting, so it's your best bet to just keep running, and if they get close, dodge before they can attack. Back outside, we see an RV sitting here with a save point and a memo talking about a letter and a wrench. Out on the streets, I just run directly to this break in the fence. Then I cut immediately right when we get into the building and get through this window. Crossing the street, we get back to Bar Neely's. The jukebox is still on and pumping, even though we're in the gross version of Silent Hill. There's an old marked up map on the bar. In the back room, we check the bathroom, then go out the back door seeing a lying figure run away. I do get hit by a mannequin on my run, but manage to make it to this window and climb up before the second mannequin realizes what's going on. This room has some ammo, and once I break the glass for this health drink, a nurse comes diving through the hole in the wall. I use my shotgun here because I don't want to fight this thing in this tiny room. I'm able to knock her down so I can stomp away. Stepping through, I can pretty clearly see a window that I can jump through, so I avoid the nurse in here and run through the street to the ringing payphone. There's no one on the other line initially, but once we hang up, a note falls through the coin return. We're off to the park to get a key, making sure that we pick up the wrench on the payphone before running there. I search around the town while I run to the circled area on the map. There's a really nice diner here. I wish more places looked like this. The ones that do in my area usually aren't very well kept. The streets have some items hidden around. The door at the end of the road has a nice message by it. The door that wakes the darkness, opening into nightmares. Cool. It's nice that they marked it, at least. In this large area, we use the wrench to get the gate open. More mandarins lurk through here. I'm able to dodge them and get out of the range of their roars, leaving before they can do anything to me. We're back at Rosewater Park, searching for the statue of a praying lady. There aren't any enemies here, and it seems like it's the same version of the park we were at before. Angela is standing under a statue, looking up at it. James has learned at least some manners and announces himself as he approaches.
This place is different from what I remember. I guess things never really stay the same, do they?
I guess not.
Angela states that she doesn't think her mother is here, and if she was, she wouldn't want to see Angela. James tries to make Angela feel better.
Anyway, I'm happy to see you.
Happy to see me?
Alive, I mean.
Oh. Yeah.
She says she needs to go. James offers to go with her.
If we stick together, we might just make it out of here.
Out of where?
This town. Silent Hill.
No, it's fine.
James asks about Laura, but this seems to set Angela off.
Angela? Are you alright? Angela?
No. Please. You shouldn't be here.
Angela, it's okay.
No, don't touch me!
So a couple things. One, Angela's reaction to the thought of James and her leaving is so interesting. She's confused about what he could be talking about. When she says no, it seems like she's almost sorry for him. Whatever Angela saw to freak her out, James can't see. We dig beneath the statue of the praying lady, finding a key to the historical society. The streets are still dark as we head there, and I search for anything I can find. I smash some glass in the parking lot before taking refuge in the historical society. Strange pictures are all around, and some weird things are on display, like a health drink. One of the strangest pictures is of Pyramid Head, called Misty Day, Remains of the Judgment. The painting depicts old P Head
On my head, but don't call me a pea head.
surrounded by cages with presumably dead bodies of the judged, I guess.
Bullshit. Derivative. That I love. I absolutely love.
Looking around for a bit, we find a hole in the wall with stairs going straight down. This goes on for quite some time, showing the player that there won't be any turning back. A note on the desk here tells us we're at Toluca Prison. Great. The lake in Silent Hill is called Toluca Lake, so hey, at least we're lakeside. There's a lying figure lurking just outside. I wait for it to pass and keep going in the exact wrong directions until I'm cornered anyway. In one of the side rooms, we see a picture of a couple of executioners, and their hoods look familiar. There's also a picture of death by skewering, which is gross, and a pretty normal picture of the Toluca prison camp. Without thinking much about all that, I grab the ammo on the desk and head back out to a hole in the ground. Now I can't see the bottom, and I really don't make any attempt to see how deep it is. Honestly, there isn't anywhere else we can go. James has gone all in on finding his dead wife, so our only option is to
dive on in!
We're surrounded by a brick wall, but there are weak points that we can break down until we find the right one. That's right, everyone. It's a sewer level, sort of, or at least it feels that way. I would hate to be James right now. The water is gross, and now his bottom half is going to be soggy for like the rest of the game. I hear a lying figure under the water and manage to stomp it out before it gets up and head up these stairs it was guarding. In the side room, we get the spiral writing key and get locked in with a bunch of bugs. My nightmare. Now we have to guess the code to escape in order to get out. It's always some combination of 2, 3, and 9. When we get out, we can use the key on this floor gate and jump down another hole.
Dive on in!
Waking up after our fall, we find ourselves in the cafeteria, and they're serving grits with lard, boiled meatloaf, beans, and bread and coffee, and a health drink. In the distance, we can see a bloody body slumped over a table. As we approach, Eddie reveals himself.
Ain't no big deal. Just put the gun to their head and...
You're a good man.
Eddie claims he shot the man in self-defense and that he was attacked.
Any idea why he would do that?
I don't know. He came out of nowhere. Hey, I could see it in his eyes.
His eyes.
He kept looking at me, making fun of me. I told him not to, but he didn't listen.
James keeps interrogating Eddie, who has just committed murder and is having some kind of manic episode, and we determine that the guy made fun of him, so Eddie killed him. James keeps pushing his luck.
You should see your face, James. I was just joking. The guy was dead when I got here. I got you, didn't I? Well, anyway, I better get going.
Wait. You're gonna go out there alone?
Yeah.
So Eddie, through what's happening in Silent Hill, is feeling more confident, almost comfortable. On the table here, we see icicles and Eddie's breath. Eddie's Silent Hill looks different from the one that we see as James. It's cold, and his other world is presumably frozen, probably looking like the Silent Hill they made for the Wii. It's the same reason we couldn't see what Angela could. They're all seeing different things that torment them. That seems to have backfired in Eddie's case. We follow Eddie into the central area of Toluca Prison. Rifle rounds are in this drawer, and at the back of this room is the rifle, locked up. A note next to it reveals a key should be at the visitor's checkpoint. I grab the map illuminated on the wall, searching the chapel first. The confessional looks brutal, and there's a weird painting on the wall. I'm so interested in this religion.
Ketamine is in the gray area when it comes to the church. Yeah, the church doesn't promote ketamine, but it's definitely not like a commandment.
At the altar, there's a wait for a puzzle we'll do later. This triggers a lying figure to burst out of the confessional. I fall back to the priest's office with a note showing the priest's struggle dealing with the prisoners who feel no remorse. I head back to the chapel to kill the lying figure. Out into the prison proper, there are switches you can pull to temporarily turn the lights on. What this tells us initially is that there's no enemies where the light is. We can hear them and the radio, but they must be inside the cell. On the other side, there's a lying figure wandering. But once it's dealt with, we start investigating the cells. The first one has a mannequin, a health drink, and a hole leading to a cell on the other side. The last cell has a weak wall. Once we're through, there's another mannequin lurking in the next cell over, guarding a single shotgun shell. I head over to explore the cells on the other side by way of this larger room, searching for any items and enemies that I can clear. Without anywhere else to go, I head off to the yard to take yet another sheet off a central puzzle. I put the lightest weight on the left and the heaviest on the right, opening the snake door. This leads us down to the electric chair. Passing it and into this room, we find a note that mentions there was an incident with a generator for the electric chair. I'm sure that was lovely. I grab some shotgun shells before flipping the switch, revealing a mannequin climbing along the wall. Excellent. My least favorite enemy has gotten worse. A couple of shots does make them fall, letting me beat them up. I continue along this cell block cautiously, trying to prevent myself from being surprised by a falling mannequin. Cowardice prevails as I'm able to get this one before it gets me. There's some supplies in the side room along with a switch for the lights. I'm attacked rounding the corner and I flip another switch. I try to quickly search the room, but I'm accosted by mannequins, so I run into this office to hide. In the observation room for the electric chair, we have to adjust the switches on the generator until it gets into the red. This causes a power surge that opens the door, and we find the medium weight on the electric chair. The door here leads out to that side room, so I just run through the hallway, dodging enemies. I make a pretty silly decision to check the door I originally came through, which is of course locked. In the newly opened cell, there's a breakable wall that I somehow managed to destroy before I'm descended upon. A lying figure approaches. I make sure to down it before moving through the cell block from earlier, and again, trying the door I came from. It's closed, so I have to run through this cluster of enemies, which goes terribly, and into this newly opened cell. I get through a hole in the wall just before a nurse stabs me to death, and she doesn't pursue us through. That whole gambit forces me to use a syringe. There's a note on the desk here stating that the prisoner, who was supposed to be disabled, just got up and walked to the electric chair for his execution. Weird. A singular shotgun shell was on the cot in the previous cell, so I make a super dangerous decision to get it. That's actually successful, and I move on, searching this next room for supplies and find the armory key. We make it back out to the entry area and get the rifle and some ammo. More enemies have spawned, but I'm able to just keep running back to the yard and scales. The heaviest and lightest weight go on the left, the medium goes on the right, opening the aux door. Up the stairs, we see more of these mannequins running around, and it sounds like there might be some lying figures lurking as well. I hide in the cell to get the jump on one of them before moving on to search the cell block. In this back office, there's a note about a prisoner who is complaining about another prisoner that was haunting him. The guards don't believe him until both prisoners actually go missing. In a drawer is the cell block D key, which opens this far door. Immediately inside, there's a lying figure wandering this cell. I search the cells and find the shiv key laying on the floor of what I guess is solitary confinement, alongside this unnerving note. Unlatching this door, we get into a hallway and find a note from one of the guards who is seeing someone walking around without authorization. When I flip the light switch, one of the mannequins falls right in front of me. We're back to where we started, and we have to head over to cell C4 to use the shiv key. There are a few mannequins that don't want us to be successful, though. Once through, we crawl through the hole in the wall. There's a note on the pipe from the prisoner that was being haunted. Squeezing through the pipes and crawling again, we get to the bathroom. I'm expecting some kind of ambush here, but I wind up ambushing a mannequin. I thought this was the men's room. I'm sorry. Entering the showers, there are bodies of enemies on the ground. I am sure that they are going to get up once I've completed whatever it is I have to do here. There is one nurse that's stalking around, but she's pretty easy to avoid. Another gross hole is in the back of the showers, surrounded by bugs. James is reluctant, but does retrieve the heavy weight. All of the dead enemies get up and start attacking me as I try to escape the showers. I'm barely able to escape with all the enemies blocking my path. Getting down these stairs leads us back to the hallway that leads to the yard. All the heavyweights to the right, and the smallest on the left. This opens the boar door. Once through, we're immediately attacked by two crawling mannequins, and they just keep coming through the door after me. I like dealing with these actually a little bit more. They're much easier to defeat with my melee weapon. There's a note here that discusses a potential illness spreading among the prisoners. Heading left from here down this long hallway, we finally reach the visitor area, where we find a note from the prisoner saying the guards are staying away due to whatever disease is spreading. There's a lying figure lurking on the other side of this wall. I try to deal with it using my handgun, but once it's hit, it runs off. After jumping over, I use my new strategy of shooting the enemy's feet, then running in to pipe them. I hear more enemies hiding in these halls and decide to search the bathroom. Finding little more than a health drink, I hear this when I try to leave. Freaky. For a bit of respite, there's a safe square in the next bathroom. Graffiti on the wall tells us you reap what you sow, with a note next to it. Someone was trying to hide from the disease, a prisoner or staff member. 2 nurses are guarding here, one of them getting too much screen time, the other one wandering the halls. With my flashlight off, I can duck into this small room. The nurse almost sees me and almost gets into the room, but I think with my light off, it loses interest. When I leave the room, the nurse isn't anywhere to be found, but she eventually goes right back to her screen. I have the false belief that she's adequately distracted and take out the nurse in the hallway. I keep underestimating how fast these nurses are, and she closes the distance way quicker than I was anticipating. The second time around, I don't take any chances. After searching this lounge area, we head through these slightly open double doors into a whole new nightmare, a room full of nurses. I'll wager that what we need to progress is on the other side of this room. Despite my attempts to find another route, I realize my best bet is to clear the room.
It's the only way.
Desperate to find anything to give me the upper hand, I search around for some ammo and find rules of conduct for the guards. New COVID restrictions, it seems.
It was just saying how mask mandates had, I don't know, little to no effect on COVID.
I start by shooting the nightmare nurse in the distance just to get her attention. She's intrigued, and I follow up with the shotgun. The next manages to close in. I dodge away through the double doors and finish it off with the handgun. Somehow, the last nurse doesn't follow the sound, so I'm forced to re-enter the room and desperately try to defeat her. I have plenty of healing to deal with my poor gameplay and find the upper floor key on a desk in this back room. It opens this gate past the lounge back to a door that leads to C block, where the showers were. 2 mannequins attack me here, and I start to realize the difficulty certainly has ramped up. I don't know if maybe I felt more comfortable in the previous areas of the game, but at this point I'm struggling a bit more than before. Multiple types of enemies and a lot of them. I feel like I'm healing much more. Up the stairs through the door, we find a room with a typewriter. Someone was writing sick over and over again. We write it one more time, opening the drawer and revealing the light weight. I check the room with the save point and head back down to the yard, dodging mannequins along the way. Placing all the weights off to the left side except the medium one gets the wingless dove door open. Squeezing through these bars, the ceiling collapses behind me. I search the cells down here, which look much older than the ones upstairs. One of these cells has a lot of strange artworks. In these spiky rooms is the final weight that we're going to need. A mannequin reveals itself as I move farther down. I see the knee of a mannequin hiding in this open spiky room. I search the cells, eventually finding a breakable wall. Through here is a ladder that leads back to the hallway leading to the yard. Good to know. We have to get that weight though. So off we go to figure that out. As we come back into the hallway, a mannequin jump scares us. But because of that, we're extra cautious and get the jump on it instead. There are a bunch more in this area though, and a battle ensues. Crawling through this hole at the end of the hall, we find a locked door with some lighted buttons next to it. Hitting them opens the doors to the spiky rooms, allowing us to get the final and lightest weight. After getting locked in for a second, we head back to the yard by way of the ladder we found earlier. As we do, we see bodies strewn all over the prison. Did I kill all of these guys? I don't think so. We put the lightest, light, and heavy weight on the left, and the remaining 3 weights on the right. This lowers the arm of the statue, giving us the execution lever. Lovely. Using this, we can access the next puzzle, matching these statements to create a story for each of the accused. After matching them up, we have to guess which one is actually innocent. In my case, noose number 1 was the correct answer, one that I actually got on the first try. All the doors in the hallway are locked, so we go through the morgue and into another hole. At this point, it's clear we're going to survive any fall, so we get James to jump down again.
Dive on in.
And again.
Dive on in.
We're drawn in by some handgun ammo. Once we step onto this elevator, the door shuts, and we start heading deeper down, which I'm not sure if that's actually possible. After the lengthy elevator ride, we enter what looks like a decrepit apartment building. This shouldn't be down here. We find a bloodied newspaper telling of Thomas, we'll get to that name later, who was found dead of multiple stab wounds. The police have opened a murder investigation into the incident. We hear Angela through the walls, which is concerning. Entering into this apartment, we search and head out into another hall. A locked door with some stickers on it, and another at the end.
Please.
Angela is cowering on the floor, begging us to
Tell him I'll be good, please.
Despite our efforts to get Angela to realize it's us, she looks past James, and we're attacked.
Daddy!
This is the abstract daddy, a creature's design that is so unnerving I'm not going to be able to describe it. It's pretty obvious what it represents. I start to unload my shotgun. This is a huge enemy. Its girth breaks the walls, so I figure a shotgun is good repellent. I manage somehow to dodge around it while getting as many hits off as I can and head back the way it came from. In this larger room, I back into a corner to get a good idea of where Daddy is going to come from, switching to the rifle. As long as I keep moving and spam the dodge button when Daddy gets close, I'm able to avoid it pretty well. After doing enough damage, Daddy roars and debris falls from the ceiling. The blue door that was locked opens, and we see Angela running down the hall. She runs away from us, ducking through this crack in the wall. I don't chase her, she's scared enough, and pass her, running through until we reach a TV. It's hard to make out what it's saying. I guess it's a replay of something that Angela's father said to her. Daddy is mad that I destroyed the TV when he was planning on watching the game, breaking down the wall and running after us. I fire a shot and dodge the daddy, passing behind him and down here. He doesn't follow, and we find a safe area, a crevice in the wall where Angela was hiding. The dirty blanket and teddy bear here is devastating. When Daddy shows up again, we fire on him, then run back to the crevice where he can't follow. It seems to disappear, and when we check where it came from, we see that the walls are giving way to this weird skin-looking material. As we move through the next area, we can hear the monster moving around, shaking the entire space. When we get here, we can see that the environment is falling apart. A fan in the wall starts spinning as more decay sets in. The walls start peeling, revealing more skin and jail bars. We hear another recording in the distance and find another TV, destroying it and enraging the daddy further. I immediately run away, getting down this hallway before the ceiling collapses. Continuing forward, the area continues its descent into madness, eventually coming across another TV. Once it's destroyed, the facade is completely lifted. The walls are now entirely this gross material. Holes line the walls. There's machinery spinning and pumping as we make our way through the now breathing walls. Through here, we hop into the next round of the fight. The abstract daddy is slow, so dodging and getting shots down isn't too hard. After a while, I start running out of ammo, resorting to the pipe. When the abstract daddy is defeated, Angela makes sure to double tap it, throwing a TV on it for the finishing blow. Interestingly, the creature looks much smaller now that it's been defeated. James attempts to console Angela.
Don't order me around!
I'm not. I just...
It's okay. It's over.
Don't even try.
Try what?
Like you don't know. I see what you're doing. It's always the same with you. You're only after one thing.
Angela, please.
You don't have to lie. Go ahead. Say it. Or you could just force me. Like you always did.
I don't know who you think I am, but I don't want to hurt you. I just want to get my Mary back.
You're Mary. Your own little Mary. At least she was. For a while.
What?
Admit it. You didn't want her around anymore.
No.
You probably found someone else.
No.
It's either Angela is confusing James with someone else, or she just thinks that all men are like her father. I think that's a fair coping mechanism. It almost seems like she knows who Mary is, though, knowing what seems like an intimate part of James's life and Mary's final moments. It's either inference or something else. The fact that she takes this almost taunting tone is odd. She leaves James with his thoughts on the encounter, and we earn the trophy Unforgivable. So I do feel I need to mention this part. I think it was done brilliantly. You see, in the original game, we do know that Angela is being abused by her father and killed him. This creature is the manifestation of Angela's torment that we see as the abstract daddy. But the boss battle is quick, taking place entirely in one room. Here we get to see Angela's nightmare expanded upon. Like how we've seen two versions of Silent Hill in James's perspective, we're getting a glimpse into Angela's here. The relentless chasing, the lack of escape, hearing the monster lurking elsewhere behind the walls. I think Bloober Team did a great job expanding on this, and it's honestly pretty rough to play through. The fact that the abstract daddy's attacks suffocate James and hold him in place, the pumping, breathing imagery throughout this nightmare world, it's a lot. And I don't think it can touch on the horrors of being abused, but it is one of the most unnerving boss battles that I've experienced. We exit through the apartment after searching around, finding a new door open to us. When I open the map, we see that it's being drawn as we move along, entering a new area, the labyrinth. We're greeted by what I can only imagine is a doorway to hell, not just because of the mannequins guarding it, but just the whole vibe is off. This next room is massive. Blank concrete walls and a single locked door is all we can see. The only path is right here, down the stairs to this door. So James is looking rough, tired and stressed from this whole ordeal.
Maria! I thought that thing killed you. Are you hurt?
Not at all, silly.
But the thing... It stabbed you. There was blood everywhere.
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator and then...
James, what are you talking about?
And Maria is apparently alive. Or is she?
James? Honey? Did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Maria?
You said you took everything. But you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
James is obviously being tormented by Maria at this point. He's too defeated and guilt-ridden to do anything about it. He relents to finding a way to set Maria free.
find some way to... I'll come back, I promise.
When we return to the central room, we find that the empty space has been occupied by this building, sort of floating in the middle. Removing the dirty sheet, we find this box with an upside-down face. Turning it turns the building in the center. After turning it to this face with the triangles surrounding it, we can access the structure. Inside, we see this MC Escher architecture and follow the stairs to get to our first hallway with 3 doors, each different door leading to a different section of the labyrinth. I have to go through the gross green door on the left, entering the rotten area. Eventually, getting to this room with the gross cage hanging in the middle. We need something to cut the sheet rope that's holding it up. There are 3 doors here. I opt to go through the east door, finding some supplies and a locked door. Oh great, we're in another bug room, this time with some extra friends. Here, the Mandarins are the primary enemy, and oh boy, do they suck. It's safe to say I underestimated them, considering they were such a minor enemy in the original game, and it was easy to run right past them. I've mentioned that the updated Mandarins have this roar that stuns James. This makes them much more lethal when they follow up with a tentacle. I do my best to search the area, but run into every locked door and dead end along the way. After regrouping, I realize that you've got to make the second left, then right, then left again. If you go right, there's another freaking dead end. Through this door, we encounter a lying figure. There's a cart we need to move, but a mannequin lurks in the living room that we need to deal with first. I find a syringe that I need to use immediately and move the aforementioned cart to the window up here. My flashlight flickers, which usually means there's an enemy around. This freaks me out, so I cautiously make sure the area is clear. In the kitchen, there's a fridge that looks close to what my fridge looked like at my college house. James has no problem sticking his hands in gross places, so he grabs the lighter fluid out of the fridge, which is actually where you should keep it, right next to your child's drinkable yogurt. In the back room, there's a cabinet we can move that leads back to the Mandarin room. I head back to the cage and go to the west room, encountering more Mandarins and discovering that the hallway to the left leads back around to the cage room. This time, I find a breakable wall and enter a room with a cage in the middle. I walk around, picking up all the items before looking at the noose, believing that this might be a trap of some kind. But no, I head back to the cage room. That's going to be safer than trying to head back down the hall to this other big room. There are 2 hallways here, and I actually picked correctly, heading right through these double doors. The next narrow room has a hole in the wall where we can sort of see where we're headed, after getting ambushed by a mannequin and sneaking through the wall. There's a bed here that again looks like it was melted by a xenomorph, and another filthy hole that James is eager to stick his hand into. This gets us the lighter wick, and when we go out the door, we're met with another Mandarin. I'm able to dodge my way to a door and run right into a lying figure. These guys are far from the worst enemy, so it's taken down pretty easily at this point. Through a door here, we find a cubicle?
The hell?
I agree, James. The nightmare nurse in here doesn't see us initially, so I take advantage and take her out so I can look through the desk, getting the iron key. The desk is interesting. I wonder if it's a manifestation of James's life. Like, this is the job that he has. And like most of Silent Hill, is another reminder of his torturous life. Because, as you know, any job that involves a cubicle is probably ass. Heading out here and to the right, we unlatch a door and get back out to the first Mandarin room, getting back to the hallway with the locked door. Using the iron key here gets us into a gross bathroom with a gurgling bathtub. James doesn't want to stick his hand in here, so we have to go through this crack and down this hallway. Turning the valve clears the liquid from the bathtub, allowing us to pick up the broken lighter. With all 3 parts of the lighter, we can now release the cage by burning this fabric. The bloody cage falls, letting James jump down yet another hole.
Don't say it.
Dive on in.
At the bottom, there's no sign of the cage, and the door here leads back to the central room with the MC Escher building. We turn the faces to the one that has the weird penis symbol and head back in. Upstairs to the right, we get back to the 3 doors. This time I go straight, entering the desolate area. I head through to the second door, seeing the giant slash of our friend P-Head's knife. I very cautiously make my way through, seeing that there's mannequins hiding out to give me a hard time. After it's dealt with, I search around and open this door that leads back to the save point. I go into the bedroom, finding a ladder to a lower level with lying figures. Winding around, I find another ladder leading to the hole we saw when we first encountered the desolate area. P-Head seems to have locked the gate up here, so I head off through the door, beating up a mannequin and finding another ladder. More mannequins lurk down here.
You are making my life a misery.
After they're dealt with, I find a small key sitting on these sheets, unlatching the door to make my way back to the gate. Using the small key to get the handcuffs off, opening a new area. I run through this hallway, of course getting hit by a mannequin, and get into this room with a lying figure. Through the hole in the wall, we see a sparking electrical box. Probably important. I move the cart here over to the high window and jump through. There's another ladder leading us down to another hallway and crawl through a hole. We get cut off as we do, and against my better judgment, we approach the red light, finding a chain link fence blocking our path. I search around a bit before heading through this opening, running into P-Head. So now he's in the mix. He can't go up ladders, but even though this room has some useful items, it gives us no other option but to head back down, running around to these double doors to the inner sanctum. I break down this wall and get to another ladder. P-Head watches us through the bars. If he really wanted to, I think he could get through them. Up the ladder, there are nurses and lying figures, and I hate it. Once they're down, I head off to the left, grabbing the bolt cutters from this room. Unlocking this door leads us back to the first room we entered in the desolate area, and make our way all the way back to the chain link fence, through to another ladder. There's another hole for us to jump down. Woohoo, and we're back to the face room. I turn the face to the symbol with the triangle cross and head down to open the last door to the ruined area. Change is heralded by the red light, and in the next room we see a bunch of enemies lying on the ground. Surprise, surprise, all the enemies get up the moment I try to go through the red door. This battle is tough for me for some reason, likely because of the amount of enemies that converge, and the lying figures are actually annoying. Before one of them can get up, I take it down with the pipe. When the second one falls through this opening, I take it out with the pipe as well. The nurse and the lying figure are now in prime shotgunning range and are close enough that they're ended simultaneously. Defeating them opens the red door. More deterioration and crumbling as we move down the hall. The next room contains more enemies, and they get up the moment we step a bit too far in. The first lying figure is easy to end, luckily leaving just the nurse and the mannequin. The only weapon that I have right now is the rifle, so I waste ammo while running around the room. Jumping over the kitchen opening works to avoid the attacks and allows me to reposition. Eventually, the enemies are finished. I search the room the nurse burst out of and the bathroom before moving on. More crumbling and another room. This time, it's my favorite. Mandarin. After a while, I post up in the corner of the bedroom through the crack in the wall. Once I'm here, for whatever reason, the Mandarin relents and eventually the door opens. Super pissed that I wasted even more rifle ammo for what seems to have been a timed event. At the end of this hallway, the wall starts breaking and I immediately turn to run and realize the doorway to hell is blocking me. P-Head kills me before I have a chance to figure anything out. What you're supposed to do is run at the hell portal. The appendages move out of the way for Pyramid Head, and once you're through, he gives up the chase. We find a door with 208 on it. Entering it,
Marie?
James breaks down, realizing that yet again Maria has died. Girl has 9 lives though, so I'd wager we'll see her again. Leaving her corpse behind, we find that P-Head did not appreciate the face sculpture and has destroyed it with his knife. Grabbing this cumbersome knife dragging behind us, we can disperse the appendages guarding the portal to hell. We have to leave the knife behind when we head up the ladder here. In the original game, this was a weapon that you were able to get and use. It was super slow and not really useful, but dealt a devastating amount of damage. Also, it didn't make sense that James just had this thing on him walking around. I like that they changed this, but still included the knife. I just wish that they had added like one more melee weapon in the remake, because the way it stands now, you just get the board and the pipe, which I mean is all you need, but still. We arrive at an indoor cemetery. Great. After checking the headstones, we find Walter Sullivan, something I'll bring up at the end of the video. We also see Angela Orozco, confirming that Angela's father was indeed who we read about in the newspaper. We see Eddie's headstone as well, but we're going to jump into our own grave.
Symbolism is the idea that things represent other things.
And down another set of stairs. Can one of those math whiz people online please tell me how far down I've gone? I'm sure we're getting close to the mantle at this point. While we don't make it to the mantle, we do get to a bloody hallway. Eddie is standing over a body of somebody he's taken out.
How many times do I have to kill you?
Eddie. Whoa, Eddie. It's me.
Oh.
Eddie, what are you doing?
What's it look like I'm doing? You fat, disgusting piece of shit, you make me sick. You gonna cry, fat ass? You gonna run to your mama? Waste of skin, why don't you just kill yourself? Maybe I am. Nothing but a fat, disgusting piece of shit. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, ugly, pretty. It's all the same once you're dead. And a corpse can't laugh!
So our friend Eddie appears to be doing well. James keeps trying to talk to him, but at this point I would just be agreeing with him to keep him off the ledge and keep him from blowing our head off with his Clint Eastwood gun.
But you've been laughing at me all along. Ever since we first met. But you ain't laughing now, are you?
You need help, Eddie.
Don't get all holy on me, James. This town called you too. Yeah, you and me are the same. We're not like other people, don't you know that? Well, you're about to find out.
James brought his fists to a gunfight. Very lucky that Eddie didn't just shoot him. Once he leaves, I check the bodies around here. They all look the same and actually vaguely look like James. But Eddie was able to tell that James was James when he walked in. Angela sometimes doesn't recognize James and confuses him with other people, but Eddie seems to know the difference. Eddie mentions that this guy has been following him, and apparently he hasn't stopped and keeps materializing after Eddie kills him. This is how Silent Hill is tormenting him. And we can clearly see that this is what Eddie's nightmare world looks like. A cold, gross, freezing environment. We enter the next boss battle, one that absolutely pisses me off. I don't want to go into how many times this guy killed me, but it's a lot. Eddie explains his motivations. He's been picked on his whole life just for the way he looks, which sucks. But turns out he killed a dog, which if you've been on this channel before, we cannot abide. You're in a freezer with this undefined hanging meat. You have to avoid Eddie's gunshots by hiding behind them. Immediately at the start of this fight, I hang back by the entry door, keeping my flashlight off and stay incognito. He has trouble hitting me here. When Eddie reveals himself, he gets a face full of rifle. After a few shots, we reach round 2. Eddie fogs up the place to try to get the jump on us. At this point, I head off into this back corner. Here, I can stay still again when he tries to attack. I dodge, then use the pipe to beat him down, or shoot him if I can get the jump on him. Finally, we reach the last phase of the fight, where the undefined meat begins moving around, making hitting Eddie much more difficult. I am beaten down at this point. One more hit and I'm a goner. This back corner remains relatively safe, even though the meat disintegrates when it's hit. I stay patient and get shots off when I have the chance, looking out for the flash of his shots so I can shoot in that general direction. Towards the end of the fight, there's very little meat that either of us can use for cover. Eventually... Notice after Eddie's death, James' hands start shaking, similar to how they did in the bathroom at the beginning of the game. He doesn't say anything, but in the original game, James laments at the fact that he killed
a human being.
Which is why we get that achievement. We leave and head outside to a dock. Again, how far down did we go? I think that the Historical Society, where we started this nightmare escapade into the labyrinth, is on a cliff, but how high is it? I desperately search for anything to heal and luckily find a health drink. That's right, folks. If you've been shot a few times with a revolver, just make yourself a quick smoothie and you'll be fine. Our only option is to board this rowboat, taking it into the fog and heading towards the light on the other side of the lake, arriving at the Lakeview Hotel. I love how the remake has done this. It really has the New England bed and breakfast type feel. It's a place that I'd probably take my wife because I'm old now and quaint, boring shit like this is what I'm all about. Yes, this does take place in New England. Canonically, Silent Hill is in Maine. In the movie, they moved it to West Virginia to explain the coal fire thing, but that's not in the game at all. I don't remember the hotel being a super large area in the original game, but this version of the hotel is expansive. Also, in the original game, you'd run into abstract daddies here, which doesn't make sense. The daddy is a manifestation of Angela's fears, so why did it show up at the hotel? This is a weird bit of continuity error that's rectified in the remake. As we enter the sprawling garden, James mentions,
"This place hasn't changed at all in 3 years."
Yeah, stuff doesn't change that quickly, dude. I don't know what he expects to be different after 3 years. Maybe they have an iPad at the check-in, but that's probably it. Going up these stairs and to the right gets us a rotten apple. I don't know why James thinks this is important, but we pick it up. I make sure to search the rest of the garden, noticing the light bulb in the fish's mouth. The entry door is slightly ajar, with a sign above stating, "Special places spark fires that warm our hearts forever." Cute. There is also a sign that says, "Welcome back," which unnerves me for some reason. Almost like no one who visits this hotel is a first-time visitor. It's almost like it's welcoming James back specifically. When we pick up the map, we see a note over room 312 that says, "Waiting for you." James still believes that Mary is there, so off we go. I begin my exploration of the hotel by heading to the bar, searching around and finding the key to room 102 behind it. There's a breakable wall around the corner to a storeroom. A note here talks about a weird book and an odd-looking man coming to pick it up. The employee writing the note states they don't recognize the man. On the back, there are odd symbols scrawled with the note, "I can't get it out of my head." I bet these are symbols from the book. We unlatch this door and head back into the lobby. At the check-in desk, we find a note addressed to James regarding a videotape that was left behind, being kept in a safe in the employee area. In the pigeon box, there's a room to key 312 and a key with a treble clef on it. I use the clef on the cabinet in the middle of the lobby, opening it to reveal spots for some figurines. As we approach the restaurant, we hear a piano gently playing. When we approach, I stop to look at how terribly housekeeping is at doing their job.
Fine, right. What do you do?
Housekeeping.
Stop. Which house?
Entering the restaurant.
Did I scare you?
Yeah, you did. I guess I deserved it, huh? The fart face that I am.
Maybe. Then again, maybe you're not so bad. Just annoying.
Uh-huh. So, you got any other things planned? I think I saw a dark room back there you could lock me up in.
No. think you've had enough. For now.
So Laura is still wandering around here. How did she get here? How did she get across the lake? Laura asked us for help in finding Mary and said that she would be here according to a letter. Interestingly, Laura asks,
Just don't tell Rachel, okay?
Who's Rachel?
She's our nurse. I took it from her locker.
This letter from Mary is pretty heartbreaking. She knew she was going to die and apologizes to Laura for not saying goodbye. She asks Laura to give James a chance and that,
I love you, Laura. I love you like my very own daughter. I wish things were different. I wish we could be happy together, like we talked about.
The letter also wishes Laura a happy birthday, and she informs us she turned 8 last week.
Does that mean
Mary couldn't have died 3 years ago. Could she really be here? Is this the quiet, beautiful place she was talking about?
Me and Mary talked a lot about Silent Hill. She even showed me all her pictures. She really wanted to come back. She also talked a lot about you, you know?
She explains that there was another letter, one that had James's name on it. She kept it for him, but when we open it, the letter is gone. Laura runs off to try and get it. We follow after her, running to the doors she's opened, immediately greeted by enemies. We head in the opposite direction, taking out a lying figure. Going into this room, I'm ambushed by a mannequin. Where the hell was this thing hiding? On the bed is an invitation to a funeral service of Sean Mitchell. Not sure the significance of that is. Perhaps it's a combination of Sean Bean and Radha Mitchell, the two actors from the first Silent Hill movie. I use the room 102 key and find a syringe that I desperately need and a few other items. No key items though. I start searching rooms carefully to avoid getting ambushed again. The rooms are still filthy.
What a fucking mess. Nice to see the bed's been made. Do you have a room that's actually ready?
More lying figures lurk in the hallways, and a mannequin tries to get the jump on me. There's a room with a broken door leading outside, but I make the point to search the rest of the hallway before moving on. There's a sunrise wing key in the storeroom, and we get rid of another mannequin before finding another locked door. Through this room, outside, to another room at the end, I'm surprised that the bathrooms here are basically the same as they were in the apartments. I mean, when you go to a resort, you sort of hope the bathrooms are better than what you have at home.
It's like being in Danny DeVito's house. The shower.
I don't really see anything else at the moment, so I head upstairs and use the sunrise wing key on the door to the right, where we immediately see a mannequin crawling across the ceiling. A door to our right is open, revealing a room with a giant painting. There are a few books here that we have to place on the shelf. By looking at the painting and the pictures on the spine, we can figure out the correct placement of books to open this secret door. This weird room appears to be another hotel room, but the shelves of files make me think it's some kind of manager's room or something. Weird if this is how you have to enter the room each time. On the bed, there's a locked suitcase and a vanity with a broken light bulb with some red paint on it. Over in the coat room, we unlatch this door and open it just as the wind gusts up, blowing open the doors to the balcony. I hate the mannequin room. The ones with the sheets on them are horrific, especially the ones that look like enemies. Against my better judgment, I search around, finding a key to room 202 on this red fabric. I find one of those jerks hiding and take a shot. Another one joins the ambush.
Hello.
But both are dealt with. In the back corner of the room, I find a ripe apple. Without encountering any more enemies, I run out and head over to the window that leads into the infirmary. I can hear the nurse in here. And while I try to take it out through the window, she eludes me. On the desk, there's a patient file for MSS. Mary Sunderland, perhaps? I think I'm safe when I exit to check the map, but the nurse follows me through the window. we find our way back to the main stairwell and the lobby by unlocking this door. I head back to the sunrise ring and start searching the 200s hallway, hearing some weird noises inside of room 208. I draw the first lying figure towards me down the hall, taking it out before I make my way through open rooms looking for supplies. Another lying figure attacks when I go back out. Because it's already on the ground, it's not too hard to deal with, and this seems to clear the hall. Room 201 is suspiciously empty, so we use the 202 key to find a broken mirror with a concerning message written on the back. We have to take the shards of glass and place them in the mirror correctly to complete the puzzle. The last piece is lying on the bed. Once it's in place, we put the apple on the plate here. The mirror reacts, showing a window into room 201. When we enter, we see that the bed is back in the room, as well as the Snow White figurine. Before I leave, I notice the pills on the bedside table. Down the hallway, tons of enemies converge. Lights shatter as I run through, avoiding them until I get back to the stairwell. Things look different. The pictures faded, the wallpaper peeling. Everything seems damp and dingy. I head into the infirmary wing, running into another nurse. As I search, I manage to dodge a mannequin and defeat another one in room 212. Up these stairs in this wing to a conference room. I guess they have these at hotels, but this isn't the type of vibe. Usually for a corporate event, you want the space to be as cold and unfeeling as the corporation itself. By the mantle, there's a note to staff with a key to room 107, where a guest has apparently made quite the mess. The fireplace is locked. After defeating a lying figure, I approach this barred door.
James!
That's weird. Through these double doors, we get to an outdoor stairwell and take it down to access the second floor. As we enter 217, the wind picks up again, and if I were the staff of this hotel, I would not allow a guest to bring this many birds into their room. On the balcony, we can see a book sitting on this broken glass. This is the roof to the restaurant, which isn't the best view, I don't think. I'm under the impression that I need something else to get the book to fall, so I move on. In room 215 is a breakable wall. Through the hole, I can see a lying figure really having some issues with a door. I managed to defeat it through the hole. We're back out in the infirmary wing, and the nurse that I pummeled with the shotgun is starting to get back up. I run away to the restaurant. I don't actually need another item to get the book. I just shoot the roof to get it to fall. This gets me a can opener. I head back to room 107, dodging enemies in the hallway. There's another note to staff, which is just a terrible management strategy.
I'm surprised anyone still f***ing works here. This guy is incredible. That's not management.
It states that there are leaves to be cleared in the garden, after which the staff should go to the fireplace. The door to this room leads out to the garden where enemies are lurking. I take all of them out before continuing my search, finding the fireplace key on this overturned ringer bucket. Back to the conference room, getting the Cinderella figurine, the clock starts going off.
God damn it.
And James looks knowingly out the doors, almost as if he's anticipating something terrible to happen. And guess what? Something terrible happens. The battle begins, and I start by walloping it while it's down. When it does its jump attack, it opens itself for some melee hits. You can only get a few off before it does some kind of tentacle attack. Either a ranged one if you're shooting, or this weird whip my hair move if you're too close. I'm trying to draw that jump attack out of it by keeping my distance, then continuing to wallop. After a while, I switch to a combination of rifle and melee until I'm reduced to my handgun. I'm saving whatever shotgun shells I have for the very end. I am hurting and have no healing, so I need to be super careful. Luckily, one more jump attack. And I kill it. There's a health drink in the room where the Mandarin came from. Not that that really helps me much. I push the cabinet and break the wall, getting to a balcony where we can jump through to the next room. It's covered in blood. Dexter would have a field day in here.
The patterns. tells a story.
On the table, we find blood red paint, so maybe this isn't blood. That's good. I drop off the Cinderella figurine and open the paint can with the can opener. I forgot something up on the 3rd floor, so we pass the conference room and head down this hall to this storeroom. Of course, I'm ambushed by a mannequin. I don't do well in the ensuing battle, but I do make it out with the bolt cutters. With these, I head out to the garden where we arrived, using the cutters on this chain to obtain the light bulb from the fish's mouth. Now we can dip the bulb into the blood red paint and return to the vanity with the locked suitcase. The red light illuminates the words "Deed Done" in the mirror. We use those words to open the suitcase, getting the employee elevator key. We use it on this room past the nurse's office and find a cabinet where we can store all of our belongings. There's a weight limit to the elevator, and unless we unload everything, we can't use it. It's a pretty shitty elevator, huh? Once the doors open, we see more mandarins stalking these hallways. This time they're hanging from the ceiling, like the boss we just fought. I run away to the laundry room until they pass, then make a break for this office. On the desk, there's a box with a weird symbol and some cutouts. I unlatch the door, but don't leave, and move this cabinet aside. In what I guess is an employee bedroom, we find a box containing a red gemstone. We can use the windows and the doors to monitor the mandarins. Once they pass, we can head out into the central room. Here, we find a map of this employee area, seeing that I need to explore the south half. There's also a safe and a heater in the corner that is apparently Johnny. He's one hot guy. What is this? What does this represent? Following this mandarin, I duck into the storeroom. Around the corner in the fridge is the blue gemstone. Watching through a door, I see the mandarin pass, and I crawl through the wall and over this ledge. A lone lying figure is lurking in the kitchen. I wait for it to get nice and far before I slowly enter, getting the green gemstone by the window. Avoiding the mannequins again, I get back to the box and inlay the gemstones. The goal here is to place the gemstones in a way that the picture in the center is clear. Green and blue went on the left and red went on the top right. We receive the code burned into a piece of paper, 7414. This nets us the basement key attached to a videotape that was mentioned earlier. The basement key is used on the stairwell, allowing us to go one more deeper into the basement. I shimmy through this crack in the wall, finding a valve. The mandarin passes, and I head over through the wine cellar, using the valve on this smoky room. A much-needed syringe is here along with the Venus Tears bar key. The door outside leads there. We'll just have to retrieve the valve that we used before to stop the steam, allowing us to enter the bar. It's been flooded by this giant fish tank breaking, also taking out the jukebox. Sucks too, this tank seems pretty cool. Goes with the whole fishing vibe of the bar. At the base of the jukebox, we find the Little Mermaid figure. Unlatching this door gets us back to the entrance and lobby. Before we deal with the music box, we head up to the elevator room to retrieve our items from the cabinet. At the music box, we place the final figurine. The goal here is to move the circles to create a path for each of the figures to move without getting stuck. Not sure the best way to explain how to move them, but I can just show you that it ends up looking like this. After succeeding, we have to turn the keys to whatever number is indicated in the poem. For this difficulty, it's the second number mentioned, so 751. We get the 3rd floor key for our efforts, allowing us to unlock this grating covering the door where we heard someone call for James earlier. Heading straight for room 312, we play the videotape that we retrieved from the safe. Mary wanders the room, talking to James behind the camera, talking about how she loves it here, how it used to be sacred. Things take a turn though. Laura barges in after our revelation, asking where Mary is.
Mary's gone. She's dead.
Laura doesn't believe us at first, but eventually she asks,
She died because she was sick?
I killed her.
Killer! Why'd you do it? I hate you! I want her back. Give her back to me. I knew it. You didn't care about her. I hate you, James! I hate you! I hate you! I hate you!
James doesn't really react, just stating that Mary isn't here again. Laura runs away, leaving James alone. So yeah, James killed Mary, suffocating her with a pillow. This revelation makes the room he's in look sick, wet, and sopping. The entire hotel deteriorating with his mental state. Any facade that might have been is gone now. The mask is off. James is a killer. James has his dissociative state interrupted by his radio.
James!
Mary?
James! Where are you? I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you. Please, come to me. Do you hear me? Please, why won't you come?
Who does James think this is? I mean, he still says Mary, but we covered she's 100% dead. I don't know, if my dead wife's voice was coming over the radio, I'd be suspicious. The music at this point is oppressive and confusing, mirroring what James is going through. Mold and rot have taken over the hotel. Through this door, we see furniture falling through the floor. People have really let this place go.
Does anyone have any standards here?
The collapsed wall lets us enter the next room. There's a hole in the wall that takes us out to a stairwell and a new hallway. As we navigate through the rooms, we find few supplies, but nothing important. There's a weak spot in the floor that creaks when we walk over it. At the end of the hall, we can crawl through a hole, finding a room with a message. There's no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. Using this cart we found by the hole, we can take it over to the weak floor, destroying it and allowing us to access the second floor. The hotel continues to disintegrate around us, and we find a burned book with the line, "Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. Remove the evil of your deeds from my sight." More collapsing as we enter what was the room with the bookcase and mural, a tape player and headphones laying on the couch. Jumping over this opening and navigating through this room, we see an elevator beyond the wall. Luckily, there's a convenient opening up here for us to climb through. A recording on the desk here talks about a woman who cannot be cured, that she suffered, and it might not have been useful in any way. I don't think that this is actually about Mary. I think it's alluding to Alessa from the first game. We'll talk more about that later. The path to the elevator is pretty straightforward, unlike most of the game, and we head down to the basement. It gets stuck, forcing us to manually open the doors. The sub pump has obviously stopped working, and seriously, I'm starting to take the pissy manager that left all the notes aside. We're back at Venus Tears Bar, a sad casualty of the flooding. I keep wondering when an enemy is going to jump out at me. I haven't seen one for a while. The game keeps giving me ammo, but I don't run into anything. Because of that, we breeze through the basement, getting to this door with an ominous glow. Angela is in this burning room. She mistakes us for her mother. James takes way too long correcting her. And as she comes to, she sees James. Up on the wall, we see two bodies. We can assume they're the visages of her brother and father. She mentions that she can finally rest after seeing her mother. Was she going to kill her mother as well? Or at least what counts as her mother in this world? I forgot to mention too, her brother was also culpable in the abuse that she dealt with. It's heartbreaking too that Angela's mother told her she deserved what happened to her. James, for what it's worth, still tries to reach out to Angela, but he is not equipped to handle this conversation right now. No matter what's said, Angela stays the course.
Don't pity me. I'm not worth it. Or maybe you think you can save me? Will you love me? Care for me? Heal all my pain? That's what I thought.
She asks for the knife back, but James refuses.
Saving it for yourself. Have it your way.
It's hot as hell in here.
You see it too? For me, it's always like this.
And she walks away. Angela has been the victim of abuse her entire life. Everyone that she should have been able to trust, her family, abused or neglected her. The moment that she stands up for herself, kills her abuser, most likely in some form of self-defense, she finds herself in Silent Hill, being tormented by her trauma. For her, it's always like this. James is again witnessing flashes of Angela's version of Silent Hill, oppressive and hot, unlike Eddie's. Angela, in a weird way, has her own version of the battle with Silent Hill. At the end, accepting or at least having an understanding of her pain. I don't want to say that she lost the battle, but it does seem like she doesn't intend to leave, accepting her fate. I just want to say, as someone who struggled with depression and suicidal thoughts for longer than I can remember, if this is something that you're going through, please reach out to someone, anyone. You're worth it, and the world is better with you in it. There are people who love you and want to see you happy. You're dealing with an illness, and you're stronger than you think. Please reach out to someone. We're back down where the Mandarins were stalking before. I hear what I think is a nurse in the distance. I do my best to avoid it. Finding a note stating that room 312, the one that James and Mary were in, needs to be cleared out. Perhaps because somebody died in there. I see a mannequin and immediately take it out. I wasn't supposed to do this and basically just wasted my ammo. The mannequin is afraid of us now, almost as if the creatures in Silent Hill feel our murderous intent. Also, if I were to run into the nurse, she leans against the wall, almost as if she's losing strength. James suppressed the fact that he killed Mary, and Silent Hill was punishing him for it. Now that he's come to terms with it, sort of, I think the power of Silent Hill is starting to wane. This red door often leads us to seeing our favorite stalker, P-Head. At the end of this hall, we find a final save point, 9 red save squares. I'm not going to go too far into the weeds here, but if you're interested in a deep dive of the symbolism of Silent Hill, check out Max Durrott. He does a far and away more comprehensive look at everything, and even has an entire video on the red squares and what they represent. Walking into the next room, we see Maria, alive again, hanging upside down. P-Head has brought his friend, P-Ted, and they stab Maria again. James screams, something that I think some people were mad about. I'm not sure if this happens in the original game, but at this point, James is totally broken. I think even the quietest person would scream when pushed to this limit. Seeing the visage of somebody he once loved, somebody he feels extreme guilt in his mercy killing, murdered multiple times, along with fighting these monsters, that's tough. James says,
I know what you are. I know why I needed you. But it's all over now. I don't need you anymore.
And we enter a fight with P-Head and P-Ted. I start the fight running around and collecting all the health and ammo in the arena. After that, it's just a matter of running around, getting as many shots off as possible. At the end of the battle, both P-Heads prop their spears up in the ground, then lift their helmets, dropping them on them, killing themselves. Even after all this, technically, James doesn't kill the Pyramid Heads. They decide when James has been sufficiently punished. They each hold an egg of different colors.
I offer you a nice egg in this trying time.
And we use them to open the door. In the next hallway, we hear Mary, basically berating James for bringing her flowers. Interesting, that was my first idea when entering Silent Hill. She's upset at what the disease is doing to her physically. She says,
It'd be easier if they just killed me.
Which is very sad. She's not very nice to James, screaming at him to leave before switching again.
James! Wait! Please. Don't go. Don't leave me alone. I didn't mean what I said. Please. Tell me I'll be okay. Tell me I'm not gonna die. Help me.
Brutal. Through the door, we're on some kind of catwalk, greeted with a wealth of supplies. It's dark and rainy. Climbing up these metal stairs takes some time, and at the top, the sky becomes a pale gray. We see Mary staring out a window. James approaches and they embrace. A moment that doesn't feel as touching as it should. We know she's dead, right? That's 100% right now. So who are we hugging? James seems to come to a realization while hugging Mary after she says that they can be together.
I'm sorry. I know you tried.
James, please.
But she's gone. I know that now.
Stop it.
And I can't just keep pretending.
Shut up! What do you want? Do you even know anymore? I'm yours. I'm here for you. So what if I'm not her? I can give you what she never could. I can be better than her. What else do you want me to be? What else can I be?
I am so sorry, Maria. I really am. But this has to stop. It's time to let it go.
No.
What?
I won't let you do this to me. I won't let you go. I can't!
So this is actually Maria. She probably, to some degree, understands her place in all this. She is a manifestation of Silent Hill, its desire to torture James. But for some reason, she's sentient, aware of the things that are happening to her. Remembering and having connections to a life before. If James rejects her, then it probably means she won't exist anymore. Her only option is to just be Mary in hopes that James will accept her. Being a more seductive version of Mary didn't work, so this is the next best thing. I think it's interesting that after she transforms, her eyes close. I don't know what that means. Maria has tentacles that she'll attack with if we get too close. Her ranged attack is to shoot these moths out at us. We can get rid of the moths by hitting them with a melee weapon, need be. Again, there are a ton of healing items and ammo set around the area that I pick up as soon as I can. She'll also disappear, popping up in some inconvenient locations. After enough running and gunning, we'll enter phase 2. She becomes more like the flesh-lip boss we fought in the hospital. The frame of her gurney becomes spider-like appendages. She also sends us through the floor. In this phase, she'll send her moths after us and attack from the ceiling, also like the flesh lips. Similar to that, we just need to look out for indications that she's going to attack and shoot her every chance we get. In the final phase of the fight, we have to fight her spider form face to face. This is tough as she's way faster now, has her tentacle attack, and still sends moths after us. If you can time a dodge when she lunges at James, you can get a few good swings off with the pipe. After enough ammo is pumped into Maria, she'll fall, calling out to James before we deliver the final blow.
James.
We cut to a scene with James and Mary. This time, it seems to actually be the spirit of Mary. James says he's sorry, and Mary says that she wanted the pain to end anyway. James admits,
The truth is, I hated you. I wanted you out of the way. I wanted my life back.
If that's true, then why do you look so sad?
Mary.
It's okay, James. Here.
What is this?
It's what you've been looking for.
We see Laura vandalizing again. James approaches, handing over the letter. As Laura reads it, we hear Mary narrating it. She admits that she's been terrible to James. Knowing that you're going to die is pretty upsetting, so I think she gets a pass. No matter what she says, she loves James. She says goodbye, and she wrote this letter to be given to James after her death. She says James made her happy. James walks out of the cemetery where we entered the town with Laura, presumably adopting her, which is what Mary would have wanted. They walk out into the fog, leaving the town behind. Mary does mention in the letter that she was in Silent Hill. I think they might have moved Mary to the hospital there to experience the end of her life. In fact, Silent Hill is probably where James killed her. Not 3 years ago, but days, maybe hours ago. In fact, Mary's body is apparently in the back of James's car. Once he killed her, he had a complete psychological break, thinking that she had died 3 years ago, that her spirit was calling him to Silent Hill. The town was tormenting 3 murderers, all of whom had different motivations for their respective crimes. The town itself was passing judgment. For James, this manifested in the form of Pyramid Head. Now to get into the nitty-gritty here, I think some die-hard fans were pissed about how this game turned out. Me, I think it's a well-crafted love letter to the original game. Bloober Team knew that they were never going to come close to the lightning in a bottle that Team Silent produced when they made this game. So they did the best they could when updating the game for modern audiences. The people who are like, oh, why don't they have tank controls anymore? Oh, why are there no fixed camera angles? Are so silly. Because they don't work with modern audiences. Sure, there are examples like Crow Country, but those games are deliberately trying to appeal to those 90s audiences. Growing up is understanding that you're not the target audience anymore, and that's okay. The time loop. Based on the various things that we see of places from the original game and the memories and the fact that the puzzles are completed, means that James has been here before. In fact, if you decipher all the Polaroids, you get a message that says, you've been here for 2 decades. I've seen some people complain about Bloober Team making this canonical, as it was just a theory that gamers had for a while, and I don't think Bloober Team has actually confirmed that it's canonical, and it could just be fan service. There are holes and problems in the loop theory, I understand that, but I think overall it makes sense. Team Silent, I believe, said that all endings are canonical in Silent Hill 2, and that they use James' model for the guy that gets killed after we get our handgun in the apartments. The only way that could be possible is if James keeps returning to the bathroom, starting the ordeal over and over, like Groundhog Day. Bloober Team also worked very closely with the original developers and artistic directors of the game. I don't know why Laura's here, she's innocent, but who knows? And also, you might not like the time loop thing, but you didn't make the game. The time loop might be created by Maria, trying to keep James here forever. We also know that James never makes it out of Silent Hill. How do we know? Silent Hill 4. If you got the guide to Silent Hill 4, it came with this poster that had a timeline of all the Silent Hill games. James goes missing 7 to 10 years before the events of Silent Hill 4. The super of the apartment building that Silent Hill 4 takes place in is James's father. He mentions that his son went missing in Silent Hill. The fact that he says he went missing suggests that a body was never found, meaning it's totally plausible that James is stuck in this loop. I hope that with the ending that we got, James is actually able to escape Silent Hill and adopt Laura. But based on Silent Hill 4, it's not likely that that actually happens. In fact, we never see James or Laura leave Silent Hill. They wander into the fog of the cemetery, and that's it. And like I mentioned, I never understood why Laura is here. I know she's trying to find Mary, a woman that was her friend, and because Laura is an orphan, she latched onto that. Mary said in her note that she's in a peaceful place, and Laura knew that she liked Silent Hill. So it makes sense that Laura would search for her here. She's not being tormented by Silent Hill, as she can't see any of the monsters that James does, or experience the things that Angela and Eddie are. Is she just another pawn in Silent Hill's game? If you can explain this better, let me know. I also want to mention about the dead bodies that we see. Now, Eddie seems to know that James is James, but what if he's seeing James and all of these Jameses that show up because of the loop as the person that's tormenting him? If we look at the bodies in the room that we punch him in, they all sort of look like James. The clothing is off, sure, and we know that Angela has been confusing James with other people or not seeing him correctly. There's potential that Eddie has been killing a bunch of versions of James, but he thinks that they're the guy that's chasing him. I don't know. These are just theories. We don't need to take it that seriously. Either way, that's the Silent Hill 2 remake. A weird walk through a dead town, depicting a psychological break from reality. If you enjoyed watching this video, please like and subscribe. I have more videos coming out, but they're going to be at a bit slower pace. I've started a channel with my wife called Parentials, and the podcast that I help produce, Why Wasn't It Better, has been picking up. Probably releases every other month or every few months, depending on the size of the video. Oh yeah, new studio. I can finally show off more of my posters. Let me know if you hate it, because I'm not moving again. Thank you for watching. Love you.